Good morning, I'm Bali Zamini. Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero says the frustration of some residents is warranted as concerns grow over water shortages. On Saturday, Morero was interrupted by an angry group of residents while attending an event at the Joburg Theatre. The group in the crowd shouted that he should be addressing the water crisis rather than focusing on what they believe are less pressing matters. Last week, Westbury residents took their frustrations to the streets, complaining about ongoing water shortages. Alpha Ramushwana reports.
Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero was again met with hostility over the water crisis this weekend when he was interrupted while delivering a speech on stage. A group of people shouted as he began his opening remarks, followed by a few others who raised their voices in response. Morero quickly told the crowd that while the city is working on the issue, he didn't want to use the platform to address the water supply challenges. He's told EWN that he understands why the residents are frustrated.
Well, I suspect the residents who were concerned were from Westbury, and of course they raised a concern that they don't have access to water. And we did apologize to the residents that at times it's a technical problem.
Morero says part of the issue is that the city is currently consuming more water than what Rand Water is supplying. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
Morero is expected to brief the media this morning to provide an update on the water crisis. To this now, it's the start of a testing week for police, with the commission established to probe corruption in the SAPS set to kick off in Pretoria on Wednesday. The commission, set up by President Cyril Ramaphosa, comes more than 2 months after KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi made damning allegations of corruption in the country's criminal justice system. Mkhwanazi's expose triggered parliamentary debates, a presidential address, immense public scrutiny and a political fallout. But 4 months prior to addressing the public, Mkhwanazi had addressed Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Police about his concerns of political interference. Oren Singh takes a look back at that parliamentary briefing.
On March 5th, KZN top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi told MPs on the Police Portfolio Committee he felt the decision to disband the contested political killings task team was politically motivated.
There's a case that they are assisting investigating in Gauteng, the case that involves very senior police officers, and that is part of what is causing the chaos in the South African police service.
By then, Mkhwanazi had already named a Northwest businessman, Brown Mogotsi, as someone who was interfering in police matters, alleging he was an associate of Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. Mchunu, who was later placed on special leave, denied the claims.
I'm no associate to the person that General Mkhwanazi is referring to.
Senior police sources claim there is more to Mkhwanazi's allegations, describing SAPS as a pawn on the political chessboard. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
Former President Thabo Mbeki has again called for deficiencies in the public sector to be urgently addressed to avoid a further collapse of the civil service. Mbeki made the call while delivering the keynote address at the Professor Stan Sangweni Memorial Lecture in Pretoria at the weekend. A governance crisis, under qualified public servants, and corruption amongst challenges that have been identified as elements weakening the public sector. Mbeki says failure to find interventions to these challenges will be costly for the country's development agenda.
Speaking again frankly, I must say that it is difficult to believe that the political conditions exist for us to bring into existence a capable, ethical and developmental state. Much will have to be done to avoid the dismal reality of the emasculated state. And indeed, this will be one of the major tasks of the forthcoming national dialogue.
We shift our focus to this now. Patriotic Alliance leader Gayton McKenzie says the probe into his deputy Kenny Kunene is nearing completion almost 2 months after his suspension. Kunene is being investigated after he was found at the home of Katiso KT Molefe, the alleged mastermind of DJ Sambodi's murder in 2022. Kunene confirmed being at Molefe's home in July when the suspected killer was arrested by police. In a regular briefing to party supporters last night, McKenzie gave an update on the matter.
So that investigation is nearly done. I'm going to hear this week. I'm sure we'll get an answer this week regarding the DP. The investigators has interviewed the DP and everybody else. So we're just waiting for the results.
Although the suspension was set down for 30 days, McKenzie says due processes are being followed.
You said in 30 days, I'm not the one investigating this matter. I told you who's investigating it. We must wait because we can't interfere Because if we interfere, then you're going to go like, he's interfering again. So we didn't want to do that.
And in Australia, the National Climate Risk Assessment Report has painted a bleak picture of the climate situation over the next few years. It says rising oceans and flooding will threaten the lives of over 1 million Australians by 2050. The report has also warned deaths from heat-related illnesses will soar. The report has been prepared independently for government. It comes as Australia is set to release its next round of emissions reduction targets in the coming week, a key obligation under the landmark Paris Climate Agreement. Gold is trading at $3,643.10 an ounce. The rand is at 17.38 to the dollar, 23.56 to the pound, 20.40 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $66.99 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got some delays along the Mike 1 North. This is approaching the Crown interchange due to peak time delays. There's also queuing traffic along the main Riff Road just as we travel around Amalgam.
In your sport, Manchester City get Derby bragging rights, 3-0 win over United. Sundowns back top of the Betway Premiership after a 3-0 win over Magesi. Bok coach Rassie Rasmus says players and fans should be humble after the Boks' huge win over the All Blacks as the tables can turn. And former world boxing champion Ricky Hatton has died aged 46.
A fine Monday in store for Gauteng today. Johannesburg starting at a low of 14 degrees, peaking at 25. Pretoria 14 and 27, and Vereniging 10 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, Joburg Mayor Dada Morero says the frustration of some residents is warranted as concerns grow over water shortages.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes after 6 o'clock. Welcome to 702 Breakfast. It's the start of a brand new week. It's the middle of September, the middle of the 9th month of the year, the 15th. Where does the time go? Why would it be slow when South Africa is the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to news? You really can't make up the movie we are living in. Dada Morero at the theatre on Saturday, hoping for a good night out. Residents are like, excuse me? You? Where's the water? Ubatlang mo wena? How are you attending shows when we have no water? I mean, that's the kind of thing these leaders should start facing a little more of, don't you think? You can't be here socializing with the rest of us as if everything is hunky-dory in the city you run. How dare you? How dare you sit in those comfy seats with your security guards and all the protection we provide when you can't give us what we pay you to give us? The Sunday Times yesterday reporting nearly half of our water reservoirs are either leaking or cracked, so they can't fill them up to capacity. This is forgetting the burst pipes. I don't know if you saw a tweet by Jack Bloom in Sandringham with this water gushing behind him, and it apparently had been like that the entire night. The gift that keeps on giving. Sauda, welcome.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
10 minutes after 6 o'clock. My name is Bongani Bingwa. Welcome to the show, wherever you're listening to us from Centurion to Germiston to Coronationville to the Pretoria CBD. Maybe you're in Hazelwood, Midrand, Sandton, Three Rivers. Wherever you are in the world, we are the station that aims to reach you. Welcome one, welcome all. Amo Khelang Ramila is here, of course. Did you have a fantastic weekend, Amo?
Good morning, Bongs. I really had a good weekend. Well rested, fun, and everything else in between.
And in your proud Pirates shirt.
Do you know what? It was such a proud moment. Oh my goodness. I cannot tell you how excited I was.
Isn't it amazing how quickly they turned it around once they got going? Right? Those magic substitutions.
Yeah.
Mutewa, were you watching and celebrating?
No, I was actually at a funeral. So what I did, I told my wife, I was like, so you'll give me updates. I've taught you the sport. You know what to do.
You know what to do. Just give me the score and what's happening between the two sides. But it was a great game because when I got home, I actually watched it after the Pirates game. Actually, that's when I watched the rugby game.
You watched the rugby game. I'll come to that in a moment. We've got the producers, Zopfiwa and Siamtanda, taking your calls in the booth. Cindy Paluta is back with everything you need to know in the world of sport. Sfisa Zulu out for the week, but a welcome return to Mbali Dlamini. So that's our team. Now, on our menu, we will be speaking firstly about this issue that arose at the weekend. There was that 40th Reed dance ceremony in KZN where the Zulu King said certain people may no longer speak about him in public, and we as media are not to give them those platforms. He says an attack on him, a criticism of him is an attack and a criticism to all Zulu people. We'll speak to Professor Musakulu about that and his response. He says he's now fearing for his life. And then, of course, this water crisis in Johannesburg. We've invited somebody who's an expert and who can tell us exactly why. Why don't we have water? Why? Why don't we have water? It's a simple question, right? There are lots of complexities to the answer. That's on our menu this morning.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
Now, if you want to know what a joke South Africa is, do you remember, because, you know, sometimes we forget, do you remember Nomvula Mokonyane at the Zonda Commission? Well, the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture. Remember at one point, she asked to be excused because she was bedridden with a terminal illness? Forget the lavish gifts that she was found to have received from Bosasa. Forget that a Commission of Inquiry said, you need to criminally investigate this person and prosecute her. She's now putting her hand up as a possible ANC presidential candidate. Par for the course? Horses for courses? Is that what you think? But maybe away from the negative stuff. I want us to go back to this moment on Saturday morning. Tell me where you were, who you were with, and how did it feel?
And the All Blacks attack away down the left again. Intercept! Cheslin Colby. Good night, Nurse.
Where were you?
They denied him earlier, Cheslin Colby, but you cannot keep world-class players out of the game for long.
Good night, Nurse. That was dramatic. I want you to hear what the Xhosa commentator said for that exact moment.
Cheslin Colby.
Hey, where were you? What a game. I mean, I've heard it described as the best 40 minutes of rugby you will see from any side, anywhere in the world. That is how impactful and electrifying that rugby game was. I'm glad Pirates won later on. Not nearly, I think, as exciting, because it just wasn't as, I mean, it was almost a dead rubber until it wasn't, if that makes any sense. But how was your weekend? What's your highlight? The Proteas walk away with some dignity because, of course, yesterday's game was rained out. Did you watch the Formula One this weekend? Were you excited? I want to know from all those people who've been to a Formula One race, whether it's, I have friends who do these things. They were in Milan just recently, Abu Dhabi. You've been to Brazil, if you've been to Japan. And I always tease them and I say it's because they don't pay school fees. Until now they're starting to. Like, we'll see how much longer you're going to keep doing that. What's the vibe? What's it like? And how do you think it will feel when that sport comes to South Africa?
Let's walk the talk.
7:02.
16 minutes after 6 o'clock. As always, of course, we kick off the show with a shout out. And that's a question that illustrates something we want to tell you about that is in the news. So I want you to look back to your youth, your childhood, perhaps earlier in life when these voices mattered perhaps more than they do now. Was there, Muteo, in your life, a voice of authority that you knew you dare not ignore? Who was that voice? And it could be a principal, it could be a teacher, it could be a coach, it could be a parent, it could be an uncle or an auntie. Who was the voice you knew you dare not ignore? And who was the voice that you thought, all bark and no bite?
Oh, look, when I grew up, there was a lot of bites, eh? So you listened.
One much barking.
No, you listened. Mr. Barpendorf, I think, there's a primary school I went to called Pine Grove in Springs. He was an old army man who taught mathematics. And we thought we could get away with cheating on one of his tests with a group of friends. But he picked up the pattern, and this answer was right, this answer was right, this answer was wrong. And he grouped us up, and he taught us a lesson.
You found out.
Yeah, we found out very quickly.
Amo?
Definitely my mother's voice you couldn't ignore even if you wanted to. That woman is a disciplinarian of note. Even today, there's certain things
you can still hear that voice.
I can still hear that voice. I can still hear her, and most of the time she made sense. Like, she would tell you stuff that you think, that's not going to happen, and it would, whether about friendships, relationships, or even just life matters, And my uncle's, I must say, was that voice that I just couldn't take seriously. I'd be like, not from you.
Funny how often it's the mom that people don't want to ignore. And it's the dad that they think they can get away, with a little crime here and there. But when you hear that voice the loudest? When you become a parent.
Yeah.
And you hear it coming out of your own mouth.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Tell, you've got a question of your own?
Yeah, I want to know this morning from you and 702 Landers. Do you have a will in place? And if you plan to draft one, what funny instruction or special requests will you make? So who takes care of your pets? Who gets the keys to your
It's funny, as you asked
special
that
car?
question, I thought, I have no instructions about my pets. I need to update
And
that.
the things that you care
Yeah,
about. Right?
yeah. I
So
have no
it will
instructions
matter
about my pet.
Who does?
Pets. Yeah, it's a good question.
So the collection of pirate shirts, who takes those things?
Wow.
702.
Weather.
What do they say? If you've got nothing good to comment, restrict your comments to the weather. So today, a fine day in store for Gauteng, a low of 14, peaking at 25 degrees. Pretoria, 14 and 27. Vereeniging maxing out at 28 degrees. Johann Cape Town is 17. Durban, 27. East London, 30 degrees. Kimberley, 29.
EWN. Traffic.
First look at those roads. Amon, let's see what your fancy maps are telling you.
Well, if you're traveling out of Freedom Park, do expect delays on the N1 North between the Golden Highway and the Deep Kloof interchange. There's also peak time pressure reported already on the Mike 1 North between Boysons Road and Carr Street. And if you're traveling in Boksburg, do expect delays on the N17 West. Those roadworks are back again, and they are causing delays already between Carnival City entrance and the R21 Rundabelt Road. We'll have more updates for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
My name is Olina, and what I love about 702 is the Clement Banyatela show. I didn't think that I would see Clement today.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
You are the biggest saver we've ever had.
2,794 Rand a month. It was the easiest switch ever.
What was the real deal they could offer you?
870.
That's amazing. You're always getting something out.
Yeah.
I've been battling to get nice car insurance. Outsurance, I found them. I'm saving a cool $360.
Get the real deal with the real savings.
I made the right move.
Go to outsurance.co.za now for a 10-minute quote that could save you thousands.
Just phone Outsurance, get a quote and see what they can offer you. If you don't save that $321 like I did, you might say get a $500 or $1,000 back. Service and savings, you'll always get something out. How is it that Outsurance provided the solution for you?
918 Rand is what I'm saving.
Incredible. What brought you and Outsurance together?
718 Rand. I end up saving.
They gave you the real deal.
It literally is the real deal.
Go to outsurance.co.za now for a 10-minute quote that could save you thousands. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
At Premier Hotels and Resorts, business travelers staying alone enjoy a complimentary drink every night of their stay. So, whatever your tipple, it's on the house at any of our 24 hotels and resorts nationwide. Book today at premierhotels.co.za.
For the first time ever, the G20 summit is being hosted on African soil, a global moment of solidarity, equality, and sustainability. Africa is right at the center. So tune in this Thursday between 6 and 9 a.m. for the G20 Correspondence Desk on 702, brought to you by RMB and FNB, proud sponsors of this year's G20 summit. Get all the latest news, views, insights, and breakthroughs from the summit as it happens. The G20 Correspondence Desk on 702, brought to you by RMB and FNB, divisions of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning Bongani, morning 702. I'll tell you why we don't have water. If you can investigate very well, there's about 300 and something million that got missing in Joburg last year. Sometime there was a corruption that was pushed there, and then suddenly there were these water tanks that were bought, but they were not municipal water tanks. It's like water tanks bought by people. December last year, there was a water shutdown and stuff like that, because now the comrades were paying themselves. They wanted them to supply us with water so that the municipality can pay them for that service. So this is simple, Bongani. The comrades, they want to supply water with water tankers so that the municipality can pay them for the service. That's it. So wherever we see these water tankers, I think we should just ban them, because that's a huge corruption going on there. Khotso from Naledi.
Khotso from Naledi, and Khumutse there saying, look, the infrastructure issue is so that there are people who can score. I posted a video on my Instagram about a month or so ago, where I was coming from work and I encountered this truck. I've told the story before. I encountered a water tanker spilling water, liters and liters, just dumping it on a suburban road, because the quicker he delivers the water, in inverted commas, the quicker he can go back and pick up some more and invoice and invoice and invoice and invoice, because nobody's checking if the water they collect is actually delivered. So it gets even worse than that. But we'll speak to an infrastructure expert who's going to tell us exactly why it is. Joburg's water woes continue.
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
I asked the question, have you been to a Formula One race elsewhere around the world? And what stood out as the most exciting part of the event? Was it the speed, the sound of the cars, the atmosphere? South Africa, of course, bidding for the possibility of hosting Formula One from 2027. It'll cost billions, but experts argue it will generate many more billions in terms of the revenue that will come in and the tourism money. Beyond the race itself, of course, and tourism, there's just global confidence, being one of those countries that hosts Formula One races. If you've been to one, I want to know where, what was the vibe, and what can we look forward to here if indeed we do get to host Formula One. 6 foundations that had withdrawn from South Africa's national dialogue say they're now going to rejoin the process and make sure that it continues. Their return follows efforts by the Eminent Persons Group to emphasize the value of their leadership and knowledge. So it seems they've kissed and made up. Adam Gilchrist has a fascinating story in The World View. Essentially, the oceans are fighting back. Mysterious sea balls, they're essentially fibrous formations of seagrass. They're calling them Neptune balls or sea balls, are regularly now washing up on beaches, often packed with scores of microplastic fragments. Scientists believe these naturally formed bundles are acting now as ocean filters, capturing and trapping plastic debris. And it essentially showcases the ocean's ability to rejuvenate and fight back. We'll get more details on that one. Now, if you could put AI, artificial intelligence, Muteo, to run any department in South Africa, which would it be? Albania, listen to this. The Prime Minister, one Eddie Rama, has appointed an AI-generated minister. A true story. You're looking at me like, what? They've got an AI-generated minister named Diela to tackle corruption and improve government efficiency. They've developed this with Microsoft, and it's going to operate virtually to ensure transparency in public tenders and to assist citizens of Albania through a platform they're calling e-Albania. This, of course, is a move after Rama's Socialist Party, fresh off a fourth election win, pushes to secure EU membership by 2027. So which minister would you replace with AI in South Africa? Bearing in mind, AI is not a perfect tool just yet. It's got a whole lot of biases and leanings that have been fed into it, of course, by the people who created and designed it. But which department do you think actually AI would run a superb job, would do a superb job running that department? Business Unity South Africa slamming Minister Pakstow for withdrawing draft amendments to the National Credit Act. They're accusing him of caving in to political pressure and botching policy making. This was a draft meant to ease the access to credit for small and medium enterprises, but there was a huge backlash, particularly around universities being allowed to blacklist students with unpaid school fee debt. And so really before the process for public comments was even completed, the minister has withdrawn that, and he's essentially saying, look, let's revisit that issue. And business are saying, hang on, have your priorities straight. That's what you need to know.
702.
The newspapers. A very good morning to you, Mbali Dlamini. Swiss Zulu out for the week, but always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Thank you.
What's grabbing your attention?
I think it's a story that caught everyone's attention, particularly last week, made headlines across the globe. It's the story of the killing of right-wing US activist Charlie Kirk. And the Wall Street Journal has a story that dives into how well do you actually know your children, your neighbor's children, or any child really growing up in your neighborhood. It says suspect was once a promising student, and it dives into how Tyler Robertson, the 22-year-old who was taken in for this particular shooting, how he was a promising student, did well at school, had scholarships, and his family literally thought he was going to have endless, opportunities and do great. And they're just shocked. They had no idea that he could have been into anything gun related, besides the fact that he grew up hunting, just like a lot of children growing up in Utah. So it begs that question, how much do you really know? We do know that the US agencies are trying to push for the death penalty, but a report that came out this morning also said he's not cooperating, he's not speaking. So they don't have a lot to go
on
with,
in terms of what he's saying.
Yeah.
I want you to listen to the Utah governor, because, of course, this is where Kirk was killed last week whilst delivering that talk. Spencer Cox held an extended press conference on Friday morning after the arrest of this Tyler Robinson. Here's what the governor of Utah had to say.
For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us, that somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for.
Whose child was it supposed to be?
You see.
Hey? I mean, it makes the point you're making, right?
Exactly.
Who was it supposed to be?
It reminds me of a book I read a while ago, Bongani, called We Need to Talk About Kevin. And it's letters between two parents whose child actually goes off and shoots up a school in the United States. And it's based on a true story. So if you do get a chance, it's called We Need to Talk About Kevin. I just can't remember the author. But it's literally them asking each other, whose child was it supposed to be? Because we didn't think it could be ours.
So right in front page, Gauteng shack crisis. We dealt with this at some length last week. Metro is overwhelmed. Nearly 1,000 informal settlements have spread, many built on unsafe land. South Africa's kidnap free for all is the front page of The Citizen. This is when they abduct you and clear out your bank accounts, and they're saying it's a growing problem. and it's not been given the attention it deserves. And the business day is on that U-turn by Parks Tau on that policy legislation he was proposing.
EWN Business.
Mateo, you're asking us about wills. Do you have a will? If you plan to draft one, what funny instruction or special request would you make, Mateo, actually?
My caps go to my son, and he better take care of them. That's the quirky one.
The question is, will his head
fit, right? He's my son.
Well, he'll just frame them. He'll frame them if they don't fit. He'll look after them. All right. I mean, I haven't thought about my pets.
You should.
Yeah, I haven't thought about my pets. All right, talk to me.
Well, the Italian fashion house Giorgio Armani could soon be on sale or become a publicly traded company, according to the late founder's will. The fashion designer, who died recently at the age of 91, said in the document that he wants his heirs to sell a 15% stake in the business within 18 months, a further 30% to 54% stake to be sold to any buyer they've chosen. He has prioritized the likes of LVMH, L'Oreal, and the eyewear company EssilorLuxottica to be the key partners that he would like to sell to. So they already have their instructions done. Now, wills are important for making sure you do dictate who inherits your assets, name guardians for your children, choose an executor to manage your estate, and potentially reduce family conflict and estate taxes.
Yeah.
But they're not quite popular in South Africa. The High Court saying around 85% of South Africans don't have a valid will. So it just tells you how many people still can do that.
Listen, it's National Wills Week, which starts today until the 19th of September. And essentially, the Law Society provides will drafting services for free this week to the public. So if you don't yet have a will, do prioritize that. You need it much more than you think you will. Where's the rand?
17 Rand 38 against the US dollar this morning in a good position, and 20 Rand 36 cents against the euro, 23 Rand 56 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $3,642 an ounce, or platinum is at $1,396. Brent crude at $66.80 a barrel. More business after 7.
Time now for latest eyewitness news. Straight to the news desk we go. Mbali Dlamini, it's all about water in Joburg.
It definitely is. Bongani, a very good morning. Johannesburg Water says its annual water restrictions are a crucial part of a larger strategy to manage the city's ongoing water crisis. The crisis stems from a combination of aging infrastructure, population growth and high consumption. The restrictions, which started on the 1st of September and will end March the 31st, are a direct response to challenges exacerbated during the warmer months. Joburg Water's Managing Director, Nchabeni Mukwebo, says by tying the annual restrictions into a larger plan of infrastructure repair and improved management, the utility hopes to address both the short-term high demand as well as long-term issues.
All the systems across the whole city are interconnected. So we are going to be intensifying the issue of throttling other systems so that we can be able to improve the levels upstream. We need to get the level upstream improved. When I say upstream, is the level for reservoirs upstream going back to our bulk supply.
ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa has again admitted that the party must take stronger action against corrupt councillors as public trust remains at stake. At the weekend, the party's National Executive Committee convened in Boksburg to evaluate the state of local government. Part of the ANC's assessment is that many of the challenges in municipalities stem from political leaders who lack the necessary skills and qualifications to perform their jobs. Ramaphosa says local government will continue to face challenges unless parties deploy the most skilled leaders to municipal councils.
Officials who are meant to assist citizens are often not capable of addressing people's concerns or at times work against the people. Sometimes even elected representatives get involved in criminal activities.
We shift our focus to this now. Zulu monarch Mrs. Zulu Zwelithini has challenged someone he has described as his detractor to a stick fight in an angry address to maidens during the annual Reed dance this weekend. The king singled out cultural analyst and Professor Musakulu during Saturday's event, accusing him of disrespect for criticism of the royal house. He made the tongue lashing in front of thousands of maidens gathered at the Emashobeni in northern KZN for the first time in the history of the long-standing tradition. Nogukanya Mdambo has more.
It's understood Isilo Samabandla, King Misuzulu Zwelithini, was angered by Professor Musakulu's criticism of the decision to move the Reed dance from the Enyogeni Palace to his palace, Emashobeni. Millions of rands were recently spent renovating the old palace for cultural events, including a 140 million rand price tag on a new dome at the precinct. The Amazulu monarch previously defended the decision, describing the move as an attempt to establish his own legacy. While he says it's not a call to the Amazulu nation to attack Xulu, he added he was willing to go at it in a stick-fighting match with anyone who cast doubt on customs.
Hey, the nations are angry. We are angry. We will do anything to protect and preserve our cultures. Do you understand?
The king says Xulu's experience in academia doesn't qualify him to tell the monarch how to do his job. Nogukanya Mdambo, Eyewitness News.
And Adolescence, the British drama about a schoolboy accused of killing his schoolmate, has won the Emmy for Best Limited Series. The 4-part drama had a banner evening, winning multiple other awards. Owen Cooper made Emmy's history, becoming the youngest actor to win Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Limited Series or Movie. The 15-year-old British star, who was also the youngest nominee ever in that category, won for playing violent young boy Jamie Miller.
Honestly, when I started these drama classes a couple of years back, I didn't expect to be even in the United States, never mind here. But I think tonight proves that if you listen and you focus and you step out your comfort zone, you can achieve anything in life.
A fine Monday in store for Gauteng today. Lows of between 10 and 14 degrees and highs of between 25 and 28.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N1 South. This is between the Brakfontein interchange and Olifantsfontein Road while travelling in Boksburg. Roadworks are still there along the N17 West, causing heavy traffic volumes between the Carnival City entrance and Rondebold Road.
The top story in EWN, Joburg Water says its annual water restrictions are a crucial part of a larger strategy to manage the city's ongoing water crisis.
Ready, jet, go! 2 fully paid trips to the Abu Dhabi Motor Racing Spectacular must be won in the thrilling new JetX competition exclusive to Hollywood Bets. An unforgettable experience awaits on one of the fastest circuits on the planet, with the world's top drivers battling for supremacy. To stand a chance to win, bet 10 Rand or more on JetX. 1 million Rand in cash is also up for grabs. Hollywood Bets. Fly higher with our multiplier.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Naked people smell expensive because naked people spend less money on insurance premiums and more money on fancy French colognes with names they can't pronounce. With Naked, you can cover your car, home, and stuff in seconds. And because it's all online, it also costs less. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start smelling like naked people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Durban is open for business and investment. From Monday 22 September, global and local thought leaders, business pioneers, and changemakers will gather at the 2025 installment of the Resurgence Conference Durban. The Clement Mangatela Show will be there to bring you all the highlights and insights live. This is where the future of Durban will be shaped, where opportunity for growth awaits. The Clement Mangatela Show, live at the 2025 Resurgence Conference Durban, Monday 22 September, from 9 to 12 on 702.
702. WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongos and the team. I think the minister that I would
replaced with AI is state security and home office. Yeah. TS. Pretoria.
Good morning, Bongani. And your team. Hope you guys are good. Yo, Bongani. If I could hire an AI to run a department or a ministry, it would be the defense. I would make sure Angie Muteka is gone, and I would make sure the defense of this country is safe. And I mean, understanding that the AI is not perfect, but I can tell you it's much better than Angie Muteka. That much I can tell you.
Good morning, Bongani. Good morning, team. The minister that I will replace with AI, it's all of them. All of them. The way corruption it is in our country, all of them can be replaced by AI. Probably maybe you'll do a better job than every one of them. Thank you. Great show as always.
Morning, team. The department should be Home Affairs. Those ones should be run by AI because they are failing us.
Which department, which minister would you replace with AI? It's a real thing. In Albania, the Prime Minister, Edi Rama, has appointed an AI-generated minister named, I think it's Diela, and it's all to tackle corruption and improve government agencies and government efficiency, I beg your pardon. It's to ensure transparency in public tenders and to assist citizens through an e-platform. They're calling it e-Albania. So if we were to have an e-South Africa, which department would be first in your mind to be run almost entirely by AI? Think of our water and sanitation issues, right? If there was a centralized AI-driven system that knew where the pit latrines were, in which school, that could identify leaks even before you report them, that could identify which reservoirs were cracked and which ones were not, that could see when people who win tenders to build bulk infrastructure are not doing so and are not doing so on time, that could have procurement timeframes, that knew exactly where things were in the supply chain. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't the clouds gather then?
Bongan, while we are crying about water, remember the Minister of Sanitation, Water and Sanitation, and the presidents, and all of them in the stage. Clouds are gathering. The clouds are gathering. Then we expect us to have water. We have a clown of a minister and a clown of a president. Clouds are gathering. Clouds are gathering. Let's go. Clouds are gathering.
EWN Sport.
Sinipaluta, in some of the messages that are coming through, I am being dragged because I was talking about the possibility of South Africa hosting a Formula One race. So I was asking people, have they been to watch a race elsewhere? Maybe Milan or Monaco or Abu Dhabi and so on. And I vaguely remembered from a WhatsApp chatter group that I'm part of that there was something happening this weekend, and clearly it was no Formula One this weekend.
So the listeners have told you.
Which was stick to what you know, my angel.
Yeah.
Formula One will leave to Clement because that's
Okay.
his thing. Stick to what you know. So I'm going to ask you about football. Man City last night, yes?
To be fair, you can't know everything about everything all
Fair.
the time. Like,
Fair.
we're human, guys.
Fair.
Right. Manchester City returning to winning ways, beating Man United 3-0 last night with 2 goals from Holland. For United, 4 points from 4 games as their worst start to the league in 33 years. Boss Ruben Amorim.
It's not a record that you should have in Manchester United. There are a lot of things that you have no idea what happened during these months, but I accept that. But I'm not going to change. When I want to change my philosophy, I will change. If not, you have to change the man. So talk about that every game that we lose. I don't believe in that in the system or whatever. I play my way and I'm going to play my will until I want to change.
And you can't even say it's something in the water in Manchester.
I don't, yeah.
See what I did there?
At least they've got water.
Yeah.
Liverpool snatched a win in the 94th minute through a Salah penalty to beat a 10-man Burnley 1-0. They stay top of the table. Speaking of top of the table, Sundowns beating Magesi 3-0 yesterday to lead the Betway Premiership. Rainers got 2 goals. If you missed it on Saturday, and you can't because everybody's wearing their Orlando Pirates t-shirts this morning, they won the MTN 8 for historic 4th consecutive time, beating Stellenbosch 3-0 in the final. The Rugby Championship wide open after the Springboks beat the All Blacks by 33 points, their biggest defeat in history. Coach Rassie Rasmus says don't get too excited yet.
The respect we have for them, they've given us shots many times, so we're just glad we got 5 points and we're in the mix in the Rugby Championship. Obviously, people are going to talk about the record. Last week they kept the record at Eden Park and they didn't put it into our faces, so the scoreline is nice and for the guys to hang in there is nice. It's more for us what we're trying to achieve, so I know what it feels like in that change room on the other side, so yeah.
Last week, it was all over. The dream had been dashed.
Yep.
He was arrogant. He doesn't listen. He makes all these changes.
Welcome back
He's
to
inconsistent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he's a rugby savant. I even heard that. He's a rugby savant.
I have so many stories to say around the Springboks and their performances and how it all goes, etc. But on this yesterday, I was looking. Well, actually, last night, because New Zealand are so far behind us, there was a breakfast show in New Zealand today that was going.
Oh, ahead of us.
Yeah, so they're ahead of us, right?
Yeah.
So they were saying this guy did this full-on 2-minute video of how disappointed he was and how they don't have pride in wearing the all black jersey.
Yes, I think I've seen that.
This is so embarrassing. Every player should hang their head in shame. I'm going,
Last
week, not even 9 days ago, they were your absolute heroes for absolutely thumping the Springboks. And let me tell you, you can know when the Springboks have lost, because last Saturday after they lost, sometimes you gap it out of a shopping centre. People are like, it's fine after the Springboks have gone. It's fine, you can go. It's amazing. The Boks won. Try gap it when the Springboks have lost. I've never been zapped so many times than I was 2 Saturdays ago. It's funny, and it turns and it happens, and this is the way it is. This is rugby. This is sport.
I saw Eddie Jones being asked what he thought the game would be like, and he predicted a very, very tight game, very, very tight margin. And as you've said many a time, the whole point of sport is that nobody knows.
Except, so I do understand if you are frustrated and you're saying nobody has pride in the jersey, if your team is doing something like Manchester United are currently doing, right? Well, have been doing. But if it's like the Springboks and the All Blacks where it's up and down. And Australia tops the table, 11 points. Who would have called that? With the Boks and All Blacks behind them on 10 and then Argentina close behind in 9. It's so exciting. Anyway, Springbok women lost in the World Cup quarterfinals on the weekend to New Zealand 46-17. But Coach Swayze de Bruin saying, despite that, the team's overall performance at this World Cup was inspiring. The Lions will host Griquas in the Currie Cup final this Saturday. Lions beating Cavaliers 67-19. Griquas beat the Cheetahs 24-5. Lions could be without captain PJ Boertse. He's injured his knee. In cricket, the Proteas third T20 with England abandoned due to rain. The teams share the T20 series. And former world boxing champion Ricky Hatton has died at the age of 46. He was found at his home in Manchester. Police confirmed there was no suspicious circumstances and the exact cause of death has not been revealed. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Every day, South Africans are being squeezed to make ends meet. That's why they're Still Good, a new online platform where you can save up to 65% on groceries by buying Still Good value bags. Packed with groceries by leading retailers that are still perfectly good, just close to their sell-by date. You win by saving, retailers win by cutting food waste, and communities win as Still Good donates 10% of their earnings to food charities. Visit stillgood.co.za. Start getting more bang for your buck with Still Good.
The 12th edition of the DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, is coming the 20th and the 21st of September. You get to experience unbeatable vibes this heritage weekend at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. So Saturday the 20th, Don Toliver, Cuesta, Ingabi Zezwe and many more. Sunday the 21st, Miss Lauren Hill, the legend. Special guests, Wyclef Jean, YG and Zion Marley. Icons from South Africa, Lira, Mandisi Yanjis, Zoe, and also others taking stage on that Sunday. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, proudly supported by 702. Go to deliciousfestival.com.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Good morning, Uncle Bongani. My name is Muteo. I'm 13 years old and I go to St. Mary's DSG. When I grow up, I would like to be a lawyer. I'm so excited to play the Whiz quiz with you today.
EWN Traffic.
We're certainly excited to play the Whiz quiz with you. But let's quickly go to Amo. This Eyewitness News Traffic brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702 Those Roadworks.
Yeah, Bongani, they're causing heavy delays traveling between Carnival City and Rondebolt Road. That's on the N17 West. So please be on the lookout there and drive with care while traveling out of the city of Tshwane Centurion. Delays on the N1 South between the Brakfontein Interchange and Olifantsfontein Road. About a 20-minute hold up there. Peak time delays reported along this route. I'll have more updates for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a work commuter. She's done this route 1,000 times. Perhaps she's daydreaming of a different job or just counting down to the weekend. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just another car in traffic. It's anticipation on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
As organizations navigate increasingly complex local and global landscapes, corporate affairs professionals are being called to do more than adapt. They're being called to lead. On the 1st of October, the JSE Corporate Affairs Symposium 2025 will bring together industry leaders and change makers to explore the forces reshaping the profession, from artificial intelligence and public policy to stakeholder management. To book your tickets, visit jce.co.za/CAS.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
If you want to save on your car insurance premium, you call Outsurance, right? But what if you don't save? Well, they'll give you cash just for trying. You heard right. Just ask for 500 Rand cash. But wait, there's more. If you don't save and have been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years, you can ask them for 1,500 Rand cash. Savings or cash, you always get something out.
Go to outsurance.co.za now for a 10-minute quote that could save you thousands. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Up next is the Zulu King Beyond Criticism. We speak to Professor Musakulu, who will join us in just a moment. But let's give away some cash for the moment. Morero is a 13-year-old contestant who goes to St. Mary's DSG and wants to be a lawyer later in life. Morero, are you ready to play?
Yes.
Yes is the confident answer there. Uncle KG, start the clock. Spell the word algebra.
ALGEBRA.
Correct. What is 11 times 9?
99.
Correct. Complete the saying, strike while the iron is what?
Hot.
Correct. Which word means liberate, release, or capture?
Release.
Correct. True or false? Romaine and iceberg are two varieties of lettuce.
True.
Correct. Which place of entertainment has a ringmaster, a circus, or a pop concert?
A circus.
Correct. In which sport does the referee say, crouch, bind, set?
Rugby.
Correct. Is Coffee Bay in the Eastern Cape or KwaZulu-Natal?
KwaZulu-Natal.
It's in the Eastern Cape. On which continent is the country Argentina?
Europe.
South America. True or false? Sonar works with sound waves.
True.
It is true. It is true, and that's all we have the time for. You nearly gave me a heart attack. My heart was in my mouth there, Morero. Very well played. You walk away with 800 Rand.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
And more money to be won in the next hour, 3,000 Rand in What's the Question. First, an answer gives you 1,000 Rand. WhatsApp your name and answer to 072-702-1702. This is based on something you would have heard on the show. Then, for 2,000 Rand, someone else will ask a question to get to your answer. SMS out to 45142 now to save on your car insurance.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions.
Your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
On to this now. An attack on me is an attack on all Zulu people, says King Misizulu Kazwelithini. The Zulu monarch was speaking at a cultural ceremony this weekend. In a fiery speech, he singled out cultural analyst Professor Musakulu, accusing the academic of insulting the Zulu nation and even challenged him to a stick fight. And it raises all sorts of questions about traditional leadership in a democratic, pluralistic society, tensions between freedom of speech and respect for culture. Is the king above criticism? Professor Musakulu, good morning to you. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Bongani. Good morning to your listeners.
My first question you might have predicted: how good a stick fighter are you?
I was very good when I was young, but I've not done much of it after going to university way back. So I became a Westerner, a street. So
more nostalgia than anything. But let's get serious. Let's get serious now. The king has instructed media houses, for example, not to give you interviews. I mean, in a pluralistic society, democracy, can he do that? Take us back to how your fight began.
Well, I was interviewed by the SAPS to tell the history of the Reed dance on Saturday at around 12:30 midday. And they came up with a question that there is an outcry about the abandoned facilities, infrastructure at Enyogeni Palace, which had cost the taxpayer 152 million. And they asked, what is my take on that? Well, from a public finance, that's what I said, from a public finance management point of view, there's going to be a problem there because you can't spend 152 million of public funds and then just abandon and go and start elsewhere without any clear explanation and so on. I was later told that angered him. Of course, I was responding to a question, and I have to tell the truth as it is, that if public monies are used, then there must be accountability. I don't know. I don't think that any other person would have been angry with that.
I have to ask you, as a scholar, though, and as an academic, where's that line between the truth, as you say, and edicts to be obeyed by His Majesty's subjects?
Well, the problem with South Africa is that we are not like Eswatini or Morocco. We are not an absolute monarchy. The kings that are here in South Africa and the chiefs and everyone, traditional leaders, are subject to the constitution. And some of these kingdoms are completely dependent on the public purse for their upkeep and maintenance. That is on the one side. On the second side, we know the cultural courtesies and so on when it comes to addressing kings and so on, but there must always be some forms of accountability for the use of public funds. So I don't think that there was anything wrong with the answer that I gave. Actually, nobody sees anything wrong in it. But maybe he got angry because he's not understanding the whole concept of a king in a democratic society and the limitations thereof, because I think his mother came from Eswatini, and for most of the time he goes there, where it is a completely different arrangement when it comes to the king and his subjects. What the king says flies.
So I have to ask you, I mean, one of the things he said was the weather can turn anytime. This is my last warning. I mean, that sounds ominous to me. What has that meant for you?
It's an intimidation and incitement, and an attack on academic freedom, also an attack on media freedom, also an attack on freedom of expression. I think what he would have loved to see, imagine if I had been there, but is that some Zulus, of course, who are trigger happy, will start hunting me down and trying to find me with a view to, acting on his behalf. But we leave that to the Lord.
Are you scared?
No, I'm not scared. I'm just aware of their potential, because sometimes people just don't want to think correctly. I stand by saying that we will need to defend media freedom, academic freedom, and freedom of expression, no matter the threats that will come with that.
And that's why we are speaking to you despite that instruction. Good luck to you. Hopefully sense will prevail here. Calm heads will be the order of the day. Appreciate your time. Professor Musakulu, speaking to us from Bongani, cultural expert, is an academic, and he merely pointed out that if public funds had been used for where this Reed dance should be hosted, it made no sense that it should be hosted elsewhere when 150 million rand had already been spent on the existing facility. That was the basis of his criticism. And the king has responded to say an attack on him is an attack on all Zulu people, challenging him even to a stick fight and saying, this is my last warning. Where does media freedom, freedom of speech exist in a pluralistic democracy alongside respect for tradition and culture?
702.
Coming up, the big interview.
Our water woes explained, the A to Z of why we constantly have water outages in Johannesburg.
This is EWN.
The mayor of Joburg is set to give another briefing on the water crisis, and the Palapala robbery case returns to court today. Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero is expected to brief the media at this hour to provide an update on the water crisis. The city is looking at ways to address ongoing water challenges with a special focus on problem areas. It says its commando system remains critically low this morning as it battles to meet the high water demand. The system supplies water to a network of reservoirs in the metro, including those in Westbury and Coronationville. Last week, residents from these communities took to the streets to protest against ongoing water shortages. Alfa Ramashwana reports.
The commando system continues to serve some of Johannesburg's most densely populated areas despite facing serious infrastructure constraints. Both Hurst Hill reservoirs, which supply water to Westbury and Coronationville, remain critically low as demand rises while supply declines. Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero says water has started reaching low-lying parts of Westbury, but higher-lying communities are still facing dry taps.
At least we're experiencing an improvement in the areas of Westbury, Coronation, as the water levels are beginning to increase, and we should be able to provide. I think by today, most of the residents were already realizing water.
The city says water levels at the Brixton Reservoir, which supplies Auckland Park, Mayfair and nearby communities, have also been decreasing. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
Former President Thabo Mbeki has again called for deficiencies in the public sector to be urgently addressed to avoid a further collapse of the civil service. Mbeki made the call while delivering the keynote address at the Professor Stan Sangweni Memorial Lecture in Pretoria at the weekend. A governance crisis, underqualified public servants and corruption are amongst challenges that have been identified as elements weakening the public sector. Mbeki says failure to find interventions to these challenges will be costly for the country's development agenda.
Speaking again, frankly, I must say that it is difficult to believe that the political conditions exist for us to bring into existence a capable, ethical and developmental state. Much will have to be done to avoid the dismal reality of the emasculated state. And indeed, this will be one of the major tasks of the forthcoming national dialogue.
In the courts now, the Palapala burglary trial is set to start today at the Modimolle Regional Court in Limpopo. It follows a postponement to allow one of the accused time to give birth. Siblings Froliana and David Joseph, along with their friend Emanuela David, are accused of breaking into President Cyril Ramaphosa's game farm and making off with $580,000 in cash. The incident took place in February 2020 and almost turned Ramaphosa's political career on its head, with calls for him to resign. Thabiso Goba reports.
The last time this matter was on the roll, Froliana Joseph arrived in court heavily pregnant. The former cleaner at the Palapala game farm requested and was granted a 3-month postponement to allow her to give birth and recover. During the last appearance, the National Prosecuting Authority also revealed it's still seeking 2 Namibian nationals as suspects. NPA's Limpopo spokesperson Mashudu Malabenjangi.
We've already done the process of extradition to get other accused persons, but are not going to be joined with this trial at this stage.
During the bail application stage, all 3 of the accused filed affidavits saying they intend on pleading not guilty to all the charges. Thabiso Goba, Eyewitness News.
In the Western Cape now, police are still searching for the suspects believed to be responsible for another spate of murders in Kraaifontein and Cape Town this past weekend. A total of 4 people were killed in separate incidents, including a man shot at the Mongo informal settlement yesterday. 2 other men were also shot and killed in the surrounding areas within hours of the first murder. Western Cape Police spokesperson Novella Botelwa.
Detectives from the Western Cape are probing 3 murders, an attempted murder as well as rape of a woman, following 3 separate shooting incidents in Wallerstein, Kraaifontein on Sunday morning. All 3 incidents occurred after 1 in the morning, and the motive is under investigation.
And in the U.S., Utah Governor Spencer Cox says authorities are having trouble getting information from Charlie Kirk's alleged killer. Cox says Tyler Robinson is not cooperating with authorities and has not confessed to carrying out the shooting. Robinson was taken into custody last week after right-wing activist Kirk was shot dead. Kirk was speaking at the Utah Valley University when he was killed. A memorial service will be held on Sunday at a local stadium in Arizona, the state where Kirk lived with his wife and 2 children. Gold is trading at $3,644.94 an ounce. The rand is at 17.36 to the dollar, 23.58 to the pound, 20.38 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $66.99 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got roadworks taking place on the N17 West, causing heavy traffic volumes, about a 20-minute hold-up. This is between the Carnival City entrance and Rondebold Road. While traveling towards Edenville, do expect delays along the N12 West due to a car stuck on the road near Craft Road, causing delays.
In your sport, Liverpool boss Arne Slot says his side was lucky to snatch a 1-0 win. City have managed to bring rights after beating Man United 3-0 with 2 goals from Holland. Sundowns back top of the Premiership table this morning, and the Springboks not getting ahead of themselves despite a historic 33-point win over the All Blacks.
A fine Monday in store for Gauteng today, temperatures peaking at highs of between 25 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero is expected to brief the media at this hour to provide an update on the water crisis.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
9 minutes after 7 o'clock, what are your thoughts on that story, that interview with Professor Musakulu? There was a reed dance this weekend. I think it was the 40th such celebration. And it happened at Emashobeni in northern KZN for the first time in the history of the long-standing tradition. The new king wants to cement his authority, his own legacy. And so even though there is a facility that exists that had been refurbished, millions, 150 odd million spent on this facility where it usually is held. He said, we're doing it elsewhere this year. And all this professor and academic who's been analyzing Zulu culture and tradition for years, said was, hang on, can you at least give us an explanation? All that money spent and it's just going to go to waste because you want to do it somewhere else because that's what you feel like? And now the king has said, come and fight me with sticks. Because when you attack me, you're attacking all Zulu people. How does that sit with you? The Joburg mayor booed at a theatre event this weekend. Residents couldn't believe the audacity, the gall. You're busy attending theatre shows when we don't have water? Is that fair? Or do you think more and more of these officials should feel uncomfortable in public spaces when they let us down with impunity so often and so consistently?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Are the clouds of war gathering in Europe? We've seen in recent days Russian drones essentially penetrating airspace over Poland, and now most lately Romania has been another country where the Russian drones have infringed airspace. I want you to listen to what the European President Ursula von der Leyen, European Commission President, said just last week Wednesday during her State of the European Union address, expressing solidarity with Poland after 19 drones breached its airspace.
We simply cannot wait for this storm to pass. This summer showed us that there is simply no room or no time for nostalgia. Battle lines for a new world order based on power are being drawn right now. So yes, Europe must fight for its place in the world, in which many major powers are either ambivalent or openly hostile to Europe, a world of imperial ambitions and imperial wars, a world in which dependencies are ruthlessly weaponized.
Right. It's an odd thing to listen to European leaders say, but here we are all these years later. I want you to listen to Sky News reporter Ivor Bennett speaking about how another drone entered NATO airspace twice in the same week.
For a second time this week, there's been a drone incursion into NATO airspace. This latest incident happened on Saturday during a Russian attack on western Ukraine. According to Kyiv, the drone strayed 10 kilometers into Romanian territory and was operating there for nearly an hour. In response, Romania scrambled fighter jets and warned citizens in the area to take cover. No one was hurt, no shots were fired, and it's not the first time a drone has entered Romanian territory since Russia began waging war on Ukraine. But this latest incident comes at a time of heightened tension. Just a few days ago, Poland shot down a number of Russian drones in its airspace after what it claimed was a deliberate provocation from Moscow. It was the first known time a NATO member has fired shots in the conflict. Now, Russia denies targeting Poland, but many in the West view these incursions as a test of NATO's defences, and they're sounding the alarm.
They're sounding the alarm. Are the clouds of war gathering in Europe? Let's bring things to home. You'll know, of course, over the weekend, the ANC held its National Executive Committee meeting. This is, of course, their highest decision-making body between conferences. But ahead of that meeting, the Secretary General, Fikile Mbalula, announcing a roll call of all ANC councillors. This is according to the Service Delivery and Infrastructure Action Plan adopted by the NEC. And today is that deadline. I asked a question earlier. Growing up, were there voices of authority you knew you dared not ignore? And were those that you just didn't take so seriously? Have a listen to Mbalula and I'll explain.
One by one, we have written to them, we have sent them messages, we remind them. Only death can stop you from attending. If there is bereavement or anything of that sort. But everyone is expected to report next week on the 15th in Johannesburg. So we expect, we have received overwhelming response from our councillors. that we are coming to the roll call. But the roll call is going to tell them what's going to happen in their councils, municipality by municipality, what's going to happen. This is not a talk shop, it's marching orders. The NEC will have deliberated and they will have taken decisions. Headquarters, working with the provinces, will oversee the implementation.
Do you think Fikile Mbalula and the party in general suddenly care about those municipalities? I've often referred to an interview I did with then Minister of Kokta, Zweli Mkhize, in 2018, when we were being told there were financial managers, municipal managers who couldn't read financial statements. Do you think they suddenly care? Or has the ANC's local government election campaign begun in earnest?
702. Up next.
The big interview.
EWN Traffic.
It's a quarter after 7. Lots going on around the world. Nepal appointing its first female prime minister. The Netherlands threatening to boycott Eurovision. And it's also Prince Harry's birthday, born on this day, 1984. All of that going on around the world. And one way to get around the world is via South African Airways, who bring you this EWN traffic report. This season, South African Airways has added more flights to Lagos, Accra, Sao Paulo. Book your seat today at flysaa.com.
Well, Bongani, certainly a lot going on our roads as well. An accident reported on the N1 North. It's right near the Golden Highway. Delays coming out of the N12 exit. Please be on the lookout there. While traveling in Boksburg, bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N17 West between Carnival City and the R21 Rondebold Road, and that's due to long-term roadworks there. I'll have more details on your roads coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
From the 4th of November, South African Airways launches double daily flights between Johannesburg and Gaborone. Premium service, convenient timings, and the reliability you deserve. Open for booking. Book now at flysaa.com.
702.
The big interview.
With Bongani Bingwa.
17 minutes after 7, on to this now. It's not something we have to imagine, but it's a reality for so many South Africans, particularly in Johannesburg, quite often. You turn on your tap, you are ready to begin your day, and nothing. Not a drop. For weeks now, families in Westbury, Coronationville, and other suburbs have lived this reality. It's a nightmare, really, even leading to clashes with police in protest. And it's nothing new. It's a crisis that was carved out by years of neglect. We've got pipes in Johannesburg, some of them more than a century old, all leaking. Nearly half of the city's water leaks underground. We were told yesterday in the reporting of the Sunday Times, more than 40 of Joburg's 83 reservoirs have some kind of damage or leak. 9 mayors in 6 years have passed the buck. The backlog for repairs is now sitting at over 30 billion rand. It's a small wonder then that the current mayor was booed at the theatre this weekend by frustrated residents who couldn't understand why he's busy watching performances when he should be dealing with this crisis. We thought we'd invite somebody who knows about why we find ourselves here. Dr. Ferial Adam, water activist and executive director at WaterCan. A very good morning to you and thank you for your time.
Good morning, Bongani, and good morning to all your listeners, and thank you for having me on your show.
I mean, we know that Joburg's water woes are quite extensive because so many of us who are residents in Johannesburg from time to time are without water. But can you give us a broader picture? Why are we here? Why is a supposedly world-class African city having these issues?
I mean, I think you said very much the reason, and that is we've got about 10 years of neglect of our system. And you've already got an aging system, as you said. So if you've neglected it and have not spent the required amount on maintenance every year, then you've allowed it to rot, and that is what we're dealing with now.
So how bad is it?
Look, it's very concerning. I mean, I think the added challenge is the fact that they're still not allocating funding to enough funding for water and sanitation. So, you know, that they're still looking at raising funds for the whole city from water rates, waste, all of that to feed other parts of the city. and they haven't ring-fenced money for water and sanitation. So that's still a problem. In terms of how bad is it, look, we have 12,000 kilometers of water pipes, 11,000 kilometers of sewage pipes. The city has only budgeted to fix about 14 kilometers a year of water pipes. At that rate, we're going nowhere slowly.
Sorry, Dr. Adams. I'm gonna ask you, Dr. Adam, to repeat that. We have just because I want to take that in.
About 12,000 kilometers of water pipes.
Right.
That need replacing or repair.
Yeah.
And we've only budgeted, this is the third year that they've budgeted, we've only been able to replace 14 to 17 kilometers a year.
Not 100.
No. I would like it that, but no.
Goodness me. And of course, we know with rapid urbanization and new settlements mushrooming up all over the place, we not only need to repair existing infrastructure, we need to take into account the growth of our city.
Absolutely. And the number of people. That's exactly it. They have not even. So when they talk about demand is high, well, the population has grown tremendously in the last 10 years in the city of Johannesburg. But there doesn't look like there was adequate planning for that. Think of how many new reservoirs have come up or new pipes have been put in. So it is a challenge, but I think it's not an insurmountable challenge.
Again, I still we'll get to the possible solutions,
Okay.
but because I think sometimes I know as a resident and certainly as a layperson, I don't always know why there's a burst pipe down my street, for example. And I assume maybe they're doing something, they're fixing something. We don't always know. And I think it's important for residents to understand exactly what it is we are faced with here. I mean, let's go to those reservoirs. We've got 83, from what I understand. 40 of them have some kind of damage. I mean, how extensive is this damage? Is it... I can't imagine a reservoir is supposed to have leaks.
So 20 of those are quite serious damage, serious leaks and cracks and damage that need to be fixed urgently. The other 22 or 23 on that list, they put it down to a longer term fix, right? But let me give you an example of some of those reservoirs that are on that list. Hurst Hill 1 in the Commando system, which feeds a large part of the Coronation Westbury Berea area. That reservoir has been on bypass for about 2 years because the crack is so bad that, and it's at the bottom, you can't fill it with water. So the water just is pumped around it towards those areas. The Hurst Hill 2 reservoir, which is the sister reservoir there and feeds areas like Emerentia, Greenside, I'm forgetting some of the areas, but that reservoir can only be filled to 0.9 meters, which is 40% of the reservoir. So at any point, there's only water that's like 40% full.
Of its capacity.
So there's no storage. If anything goes, that's why we've been in this, if there's any maintenance, any shutdowns, there's no ability for the reservoirs to actually sustain us or withstand that maintenance.
So we've got the mayor expected to brief the media today. What is he going to say?
I don't know. He's probably going to say that they've increased the water tanks to Coronation, which people on the ground, they've seen some, but some areas have still lacking. He's going to say that there's water flowing in the pipes, and I've been hearing that here and there's a little bit of water coming in, but then it goes. So it's not a sustainable supply where you should have in your taps a normal, good supply of water. People are still nervous, people are still like, when is this? And they don't have water again today. Yeah. So I really don't know what he's going to say because his 7-day promise ends on Wednesday.
Dr. Adam, is it your view, as some have suggested, that the neglect has been deliberate? It may have been incompetence before or perhaps not prioritizing, but certainly now it is deliberate neglect so that people connected to officials and politicians can win tenders to supply water through these water tanks and score a quick buck from the system. Is that something that makes sense to you?
It's very plausible. I don't think that's what, that could be happening, right? I don't have the proof. But let's be honest, there is a water mafia. It comes in different forms. It's in different, whether it's water tankers, whether it's putting up JoJo tanks, whether it's working on pipes or reservoirs. They're there. The construction mafia, the water tanker mafia, we have that. And it's plausible that could be some of it. But I think on this issue, it's a combination of that, but also I think for me, it's the lack of political will to actually act and do the things that need to be done. And also, as I've said before, the city of Joburg holds the purse strings. So it may give a budget to Joburg Water, but at a whim, they take that money back into their account to actually be cash flush or to move it around in different parts of the city, like whether it's for roads or whatever. And that's what's strangleholding getting things fixed. The Brixton Reservoir, the new one, was supposed to be completed in April, May this year. It's still not completed, and it seems that the estimated completion time now may be December if contractors get paid on time. Because if they don't, they down tools again, and then that gets prolonged. And that's also part of the issue, is that these projects that are there are good projects that need to happen. But the longer they prolong, the longer we will be in the situation we're in right now.
You said earlier this is not insurmountable. Doesn't sound like it's certainly going to have a solution anytime soon.
No, I'm not going to give you a 7-day solution. That 7 days is not a good solution.
That's nonsense. Yeah.
So if we put the money there, if the city says, okay, these are the key projects that need to happen and they need to start now, we're looking at 2 to 3 years of a little bit of instability, but then I think the system would start stabilizing. It does not mean it will be 100%. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done, but there are some small key things like making sure that the Brixton Reservoir is built, the tower is built and completed, and adding an additional Crosby pump station, fixing the reservoirs that you've mentioned. There's 20 that need urgent attention. They cannot do those 20 in the 2 to 3 years, but they've selected 5 key ones. Some of them are on the east of Joburg, because they're also having problems in Region F, and some of them are a commando system like the Hurst Hill 2. Put your efforts into that, and if you fix that, those are the short-term plans that Joburg Water has submitted to the Presidential Working Group, then I think we'd have a working system in 2 to 3 years. But until then, we're going to see a lot of this all the time.
And we're going to hear more promises and more promises and more promises from the mayor, no doubt, a little later on today. Dr. Ferial Adam, appreciate your time, water activist and executive director at Water Can. So do take whatever you're going to hear from officials today with a pinch of salt, I think. And if ever there was an indication that the people who are running this city are not quite up to the task, I'm not sure you're going to find another one.
EWN Traffic.
28 after 7, this Eyewitness News Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. Amo?
Well, Bongani, traffic remains heavily backed up on the N12 as well as the N1 through the Golden Highway due to an accident scene. As a result, about a 30-minute hold-up around that turnoff. Please be on the lookout. I'll have more details coming up shortly. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
If you want to save on your car insurance premium, you call Outsurance, right? But what if you don't save? Well, they'll give you cash just for trying. You heard right. Just ask for 500 Rand cash. But wait, there's more. If you don't save and have been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years, you can ask them for 1,500 Rand cash. Savings or cash, you always get something out.
Go to outsurance.co.za now for a 10-minute quote that could save you thousands. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
EWN Business.
On to business news now with Mateo Khwaripe, 29 after 7. PetroSA scrapping its deal with the Russians, and they're going to restart that Mossel Bay refinery a different way.
Yeah, the PetroSA, South Africa's state-owned oil and gas company, has cancelled its deal with Russia's Gazprom Bank to restart the Mossel Bay refinery. The deal was worth 3.7 billion rand. Now, at its peak, the refinery had the capacity to produce 45,000 barrels a day. The decision comes amid criticism over Gazprom Bank's selection as a partner, especially as the Russia-Ukraine war continues. Critics question the due diligence and decision-making behind choosing the Russian bank as a partner, with South Africa's relationship with the US already strained. The Mossel Bay refinery's prolonged shutdown increases South Africa's reliance on costly fuel imports.
At its peak, give me that number again. It pumped out how much?
45,000 barrels a day.
And now it pumps out how much?
Not much.
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero. It's all these things that are own goals. There's nothing to do with the geopolitical uncertainty and the... Because you know that's the one they keep throwing now. Talking of geopolitical uncertainties, US-China trade talks continue in Spain, of all places.
Yeah, delegations from the US and China are set to continue their talks in Madrid into a second day on Monday after trade tensions are continued between the two countries. The latest round of negotiations, the fourth in 4 months, concluded its first day on Sunday after about 6 hours with no indication of a breakthrough. Now, talks had centered around TikTok, tariffs and the economy. Delegations led by US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Chinese Vice Premier He Lengfeng have been meeting in European cities since May to try to resolve differences that prompted President Donald Trump to raise tariffs on Chinese imports and sparked tit-for-tat measures that reached well over 100% in terms of duties.
All right, let's talk about the Rand.
Rand still in a good position this morning, strengthening against the dollar, 17 Rand 36 against the US currency, at 20 Rand 37 cents against the euro, and at 23 Rand 56 cents against the British pound. The price of gold at $3,643 an ounce, while platinum is at $1,402. Brent crude at $67.35 a barrel. More business after 8.
Straight to the news desk we go. The question will be, has the ANC finally woken up to the reality of local government? Or has its campaign begun in earnest? Mbali Dlamini, you've got the latest.
Thanks, Bongani. A very good morning. The ANC has summoned all its municipal councillors from across the country to Johannesburg as part of preparations for the upcoming local government elections. The party is holding what it terms a roll call at the Gold Rush Dome in Nasrec today, where its councillors will account for their performance since the 2021 municipal elections. The gathering forms part of efforts to ensure its councillors remain aligned with the ANC's mandate. Speaking on the sidelines of the ANC National Executive Committee meeting in Boksburg at the weekend, Secretary General Fikile Mbalula said this forms part of efforts to win back public trust.
We are expecting 6,690 of our councillors at the roll call together with our structures. The objective of the roll call is to introduce the service delivery infrastructure plan, which will have been adopted by the NEC.
The party continues its attempts to make up for lost ground after suffering massive electoral losses.
The President will give marching orders to councillors and their role in its implementation. Measurable, monitored plan after every 3 months. And where there are challenges in different municipalities, will be able to lead.
Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Minister Velenkosini Hlabisa says the gathering of mayors from the world's cities has been more than just a talk shop. Hlabisa was amongst delegates at the closing of the U20 Mayors Summit in Sandton yesterday. Tshwane and Joburg co-hosted mayors from the G20 bloc this week to bring to the fore priorities they believe need to be addressed by cities across the globe. Nokukanya Mdambo has the details.
Mayors from the G20 member states agreed on a communique which includes steps to ensure cities have the resources they need to deliver basic services for residents and to accelerate action on the world's most pressing challenges. It says affordable housing, social protection, jobs, climate sustainable development, digital transformation and social inclusion are not optional but are essential for a just and thriving urban future. COCTA Minister Velenkosini Hlabisa.
The U20 summit has been more than a dialogue. It has been a political platform that brings the voice of the local government into the G20 table.
He says the commitments by city leaders cannot exist in silos but must influence national policies. Nogukhanya Mtambo, Eyewitness News.
And the DA has again questioned energy regulator Nersa's capacity and technical expertise to determine electricity pricing following a multi-billion rand blunder. It follows Nersa's admission and apology for a 54 billion rand error in calculating electricity tariffs. The error will cost consumers when tariffs increase by more than 8% per year for the next 2 financial years. While the mistake was identified before the tariff determination was made in January, it was not rectified. Mayoral Committee member for Energy in Cape Town and DA member Xanthia Limburg.
It does beg the question whether the regulator is adequately capacitated with the necessary technical expertise to properly scrutinize cost of supply studies that need to form part of tariff applications that both Eskom makes and that municipalities make.
She says the regulator cannot go unchecked for the blunder.
Far too often we are facing a position where the regulator isn't necessarily stepping up and fulfilling their constitutional mandate.
In your weather, a fine Monday in store for Gauteng today. Temperatures peaking at highs of between 25 and 28 degrees.
And in the traffic, we've got an accident reported in Roodepoort. This is along the Albertina Sisulu Road. It's causing heavy traffic volumes just as you approach Christian de Wit Road. It's right near Christian de Wit Road, so please be on the lookout there. And travelling in Sharonlee, delays on Malibongo Drive towards the N1.
The top story in EWN, the ANC has summoned all its municipal councillors from across the country to Johannesburg as part of preparations for the upcoming local government elections.
We're going to make insurance great again. We're going to build a wall around high premiums. A big wall. The best wall. And guess what? You're not paying for it. We're going to grab poor service by the policy. It's going to be tremendous. Believe me.
This message has absolutely nothing to do with the US government. It's paid for by the King of Insurance, who's making insurance great again. Get a quote now. It'll be the best decision, people are saying, ever. King Price is a licensed FSP. No fake news, just lacquer insurance.
The South African Future Trust Summit's Premium Entrepreneurial Showcase returns to the Sandton Convention Centre on the 5th and 6th of November, bringing together entrepreneurs with bold ideas and big ambition. Come and witness the big pitch, where our 10 finalists will compete for the coveted $1 million business investment. Join masterclasses with industry experts who will share valuable knowledge on relevant topics and seize the opportunity to pitch your business ideas to leading investors. Don't miss out. Limited seats are available. Book yours now at summit.southafricanfuturetrust.org in partnership with 702.
Soccer and speed meet this season with Hollywood Bets and Aziz Shege. Be in the game. The thrilling competition sees 4 million rand in cash and prizes up for grabs. The first of 4 brand new vehicles is a top-of-the-range Toyota Rumian. Simply bet 10 rand or more on any soccer fixture or fixtures online or at your nearest branch to qualify. Feel the fever and bet now on the action.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
For the first time ever, the G20 summit is being held on African soil, a global moment of solidarity, equality, and sustainability with Africa at the center. So tune in for the G20 Correspondence Desk on 702, brought to you by RMB and FNB, proud sponsors of this year's G20 Summit. Get all the latest news, views, insights, and breakthroughs from the summit as it happens. The G20 Correspondence Desk on 702, brought to you by RMB and FNB, divisions of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
702. WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongani. Further to discussions about service delivery and efficiencies in the system, City of Johannesburg, when they are billing, for example, City Power, what they do is they bill you estimates for about 3 or 4 months. Then they do a recalculation and then they bill you on actuals. And guess what happens? Utilizing this mechanism, they then increase the tariff because there is a step tariff for costs. So where your normal tariff should be, let's say up to step 4, when they do the recalculation, now your consumption goes into a step 6 or step 8 tariff billing. And this is how they are milking through creative accounting, through creative billing. This is how they are milking consumers.
Yeah, but they don't, in all fairness, Bongi, they don't fix what they have to fix. I mean, we have a fire hydrant that's sitting on the road, Patrick Street in Sundowner. That thing has been pouring out water for over a week now. They are well aware of it. You know what they did? They came and they put a plastic pipe to let the water run straight down into the road so it didn't run down the pavement. I mean, that plastic pipe lasted an entire 3 days, and eventually with the pressure of the water, it came off. So it's still spewing out water all the way down the road. I mean, that is a fire hydrant that should have been sealed. I don't understand.
You see what I mean when I say it may have been incompetence, certainly in the beginning, but now there's just a deliberate neglect. And it took the residents of Coronationville to cause the fuss that they did last week to get any attention. And even today, what you're likely to hear from the officials is to be taken with strong, what's the word I'm looking for, Cindy Paluta? With strong skepticism. There we go. My story is simply this. I may have told you, if you're a regular listener to the show, I was being billed for my electricity on the incorrect meter. So although guys would come every month to take a reading, the reading they were taking was for a different number meter than the one that was on my bill. To their credit, it was one of the City Power officials who pointed this out to me. You know, she came to the house, and of course it had to be a woman, right? She came to the house and she said, "Let me see your bill." And I was irritated, like, what does this woman want from me? And she looks at it and she says, "Look, there, your meter number and what's on your bill is not the same." And then I was suddenly all friendly. Oh, really? I said, oh. Suddenly I had all the time for her, right? It took me over a year to get the problem solved. After numerous visits to this City Power office and that City Power office, it took over a year to get the problem resolved. So here's the trick, Cindy. When the bill, after they resolved it, when they finally linked my account number to the right meter number, I'd obviously been overpaying all these months. So I'm quite substantially now in the black. It was on that month, last month, that I was hit with a 9,000 Rand water bill from nowhere. Because we must, of course, bring that deficit. Because now, I'm really quite in the black. Wow. I'm really quite in the black. But to bring that deficit just a little, slap you with a 9,000 Rand water bill. Now, I must go all over again and read my meter and guys.
I've just had a light bulb moment. So there's 2 water issues that I know of. One was a leak outside my mother's house that took them 2 years to come fix. She phoned them every day for 2 years, and eventually they came, right? After 2 years. But we've got one on our street that's been leaking for about 2 years. They came about 2-3 weeks ago. Unfortunately, I wasn't home. It's not outside my house. And Joburg Water eventually said, "Oh yes, it is us. It's not the owner's property." Because the owner's been saying it's not my leak, it's your leak. But as a result, the leak has created the whole road to disintegrate. We've got potholes that you can't drive over, right?
Yes.
But I'm actually thinking I'm not going to pay my water. Then they're going to come and switch me off. And when they come to switch me off, I go, "While you're here, can you just go 2 houses down and just switch that off? Fix that." And so to get them to come, right, to look at the leak has been a problem. But if they want to come and switch me off, it'll be a lot easier to get them there.
You've just got to make sure you're there when they come.
I will wait. I'll wait.
Gosh.
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance. Your chance to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. First, 1,000 Rand for the answer. And then a little later, 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now and you could save on your car insurance. Today's answer comes from Stanley, who's in Alders. Stanley, what's today's answer?
1984, Bongani.
Ooh, 1984. 1984 is the answer. What's the question? Thank you, Stanley, very much. Stanley says it's 1984. What is the question? Stanley walking away, of course, with 1,000 Rand, all thanks to Outsurance and 702.
EWN Sport.
At 7:45 on the nose, this EWN Sport is brought to you by RMB Corporate Banking. Ready, steady, cash flow. Cindy.
Liverpool snatched a win in the 94th minute through a Salah penalty yesterday. They beat a 10-man Burnley 1-0 to stay top of the table. Even boss Arne Slot admits it was lucky.
No really open chances. So yeah, a draw was probably what we expected throughout the game, but we tried also with the substitutions we made to bring all the players we have that can attack. So I think we were 6 or 7 in the end. I don't know if that has anything to do with us scoring the goal, but we just created the penalty, and just before that with a big chance from Jeremy. So relief, yeah, lucky.
Man United lost to City 3-0. Their worst start to the league in 33 years. 4 points from only 4 games played. Boss Ruben Amorim.
I see that we are doing better, but then the results doesn't show that. I remember last year we play in the former club. We play against City. We won 4-1. It was not near the opportunities, the way we control the game compared today. But in certain moments we were not better than City. So I understand that, and it's hard, and the record says everything. So.
Back home, Sundowns beat Magesi 3-0 Rainers with 2 goals to move top of the table. The Rugby Championship wide open after the Springboks beat the All Blacks by 33 and Argentina beat Australia. Surprisingly, it's the Aussies that top the table on 11 with the Boks and All Blacks both on 10 ahead of Argentina. Cheslin Colby echoed coach Rassie Rasmus' sentiment of not getting ahead of themselves.
A lot of credit to the coaches as well for feeding us with information and just making us as comfortable as possible throughout the week. But yeah, what the young guys and the whole backline did was unbelievable, and I think we just need to keep our feet on the ground and just continue to work. I think we can still rectify a lot of opportunities out there and just be better as a team.
The Boks next play Argentina on the 27th of September. The Lions could be without captain PJ Botha for Saturday's Currie Cup final at Ellis Park. The Lions beat the Cavaliers at Greco's thrashed the Cheetahs to get to the final. In cricket, the Proteas' third T20 with England abandoned due to rain. The teams share the T20 series. At the World Athletics Champs in Tokyo, the men's 100-meter final was a Jamaica 1-2. Seville winning ahead of Thompson and Lyles in third. South African Gift Loatlela finished in fifth with Sabini seventh. And former world boxing champion Ricky Hatton has died at the age of 46. He was found at his home in Manchester. The exact cause of death has not been revealed. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Feeling some lag in Sector 3?
Copy. Optimizing working capital. Ready. You're approaching a tight corner. Cash flow pressure ahead.
Low on liquidity. Supply pressure is building. Set.
Deploying cash injection in 3, 2, 1, flow.
Nice move. Better supply chain control.
Lab time advantage. Faster cash cycles, leaner inventory, and optimized working capital.
Ready, set, cash flow. Corporate banking from RMB. RMB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider.
Spar puts family first. From fresh fruit and veg to bakery treats warm from the oven, Spar gives you freshness, quality, and care you can trust every day. Spar value-added services make life easier. Send money, buy a bus ticket, recharge airtime. You can even pay your DSTV all in one stop without paying extra. Spar Mobile puts savings in your family's pocket. Unblock unbeatable deals on data, voice, and SMS. Plus, earn free data rewards every time you shop. Spar makes it simple. Pick your Spar Mobile SIM at the customer service desk, pop it in, activate in-store or on WhatsApp, and you're good to go. Keep your number or a fresh start. The choice is yours. Spar, the informed choice.
Okay, truck 7 has 0 warning lights. Truck 8, it's just been serviced. I guess we're running like a well-oiled machine. Where would I be without MyWay's comprehensive cover for my vans and trucks? Plus, cover for my customers' orders with goods and transit insurance. I guess we'll never know.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. MyWay is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. MyWay. Live your way.
Introducing the new Grande Cheeseburger from Nando's. Freshly toasted signature bun,
Juicy flame-grilled chicken breast fillet basted in your choice of peri-peri. Nando's mayo, crisp lettuce, tomato, red onion, the red one, not the normal one, gherkins, creamy cheddar cheese, and finished with that legendary peri-naise. A burger so big it literally took us almost 30 seconds to describe it, which is why you'll need both hands for it.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by the new Opel Grandland. With smart tech and striking design, it's German engineering on a grand scale. Test drive one today at your nearest Opel dealer. The delays in Strubens Valley. Amo?
Yes, Bongani, that's due to an accident along Hendrik Potgieter Road. It happened right near Christian de Wet Road. It is causing heavy delays around the area. Please try to avoid. And if you're traveling on the N1 North out of Rand Park Ridge, do expect delays between Bears-Nodia Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive. In the Fourways area, traffic is gridlocked along several roads, including Cedar Road, Witkoppen Road, as well as Winnie Mandela Drive due to multiple reasons. So please be on the lookout there and be patient if you find yourself in that mess. I'll have more updates for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Great entrance? Forget that. Make a grand entrance. Grand! Be late, make everyone wait, and be grateful they did. Peeps be rubbernecking, staring gormlessly like deer in your 50,000 intelligent LED headlights. Grand! Make a grand entrance in the new Opel Grandland, designed and made in Germany. Achtung, baby. Grand! It's even got massage seats. Obergrand! Visit opel.co.za for more.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance, please tell me what's the question if the answer is 1984. Let's go to the lines. Aisha in Centurion, what's the question?
The question is, what is the year that Prince Harry was born, who celebrates his birthday today?
Oh, man. Prince Harry. There's this incredible moment where he is so moved at receiving a picture of his mom with Nelson Mandela. Aisha, 2,000 Rand is coming your way. I want you to listen to this touching moment. But you walk away with 2,000 Rand, all thanks to Outsurance and 702.
On my wall and in my heart every day is an image of my mother and Mandela meeting in Cape Town in 1997. The photo was presented to me by the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu. But when I first looked at the photo, straight away what jumped out was the joy on my mother's face, the playfulness, cheekiness even, the pure delight to be in communion with another soul so committed to serving humanity. And then I looked at Mandela. Here was a man with the weight of the world on his shoulders, asked to heal his country from the wreckage of its past and transform it for the future. A man who had endured the very worst of humanity, vicious racism and state-sponsored brutality. A man who had lost 27 years with his children and family that he would never get back. 27 years. Yet in that photo and so many others, he is still beaming. Still able to see the goodness in humanity, still buoyant with a beautiful spirit that lifted everyone around him. Not because he was blind to the ugliness, the injustices of the world, but because he knew we could overcome them.
Prince Harry celebrating his birthday, born on this day in 1984. Now, when it comes to saving you money, Outsurance puts their money where their mouth is. That's right, if Outsurance can't beat your car insurance premium, you can ask them for 500 Rand in cash. Make that 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash, you always get something out. Get a quick and easy quote today. Call 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za. A licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's and information online.
One festival, endless flavor, and 2 unforgettable days of timeless music. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, returns on 20 and 21 September at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. On Saturday, the stage erupts with Don Toliver, Questa, and Nkabi Zezwe. Then on Sunday, experience the legendary Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, Lyra, and more. The DSTV Delicious Festival, powered by Lotto Star. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
Insurance pulls you in. Pineapple pulls you under. Insurance. Pineapple. Insurance. Pineapple.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
What do partners of the Gates Foundation do when facing the world's toughest challenges? They keep going. From discovering a plastic drape that helps detect excessive postpartum bleeding faster, to developing better bed nets to kill malaria-carrying mosquitoes, to researching an RSV vaccine that could save hundreds of thousands of children. For every problem, there are people who prove that progress is possible. The Gates Foundation, partners of human potential. Learn more at gatesfoundation.org/keep going.
702.
702. What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
Now, time for the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Belle.
Teacher says.
Teacher says, and what teacher says is what you must abide by. So, I mean, maybe you have had a situation where the young one comes home and tells you a story. Mommy, Daddy, teacher says blah, 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 blah. And you're thinking, geez, okay, teacher says, what about what I say? So there's this youngster on TikTok. His TikTok handle is Zulu Boy. And he comes home and he tells his mom about what teacher says about cell phones. Let's take a listen, Bongs.
My teacher said, don't watch phone at night. My teacher said, if you watch your phone, it will tend to be the zombies.
Yo.
It's go 7. Sizolala, mama.
Okay.
Go 7.
Okay. Sizobethu 7 ngoku.
Yes.
7 o'clock siye ebhedini siyalala, ne?
Yes. I will sleep.
Okay.
How do you stay with on your phone as a parent if your child thinks you're going to be turned into a zombie? Shame, man.
Gosh. So that's what teacher says. So I want to ask our 702 family this morning, what stories have you heard maybe when they were young and they're now adults, but teacher said stories? I want to hear the teacher said stories. And I mean, sometimes teachers can have really wonderful stories to tell our little ones and lead them on the right path. So teacher said stories that maybe shocked you or impressed you or were like, no, don't listen to teacher.
What does teacher know, right?
Yeah.
All right, that's what's gone viral with Kabazela.
EWN Traffic.
This Eyewitness News Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. Amo?
Well, Bongani, in the city of Tshwane, traffic is congested along the N1 South between the Prof Plus interchange and Atterbury Road. This is due to peak time delays. There's also queuing traffic along the N14 East just as you come out of the Brakfontein interchange. An accident is reported there. Please be on the lookout. And if you're traveling along the R80 East Mabopane Highway, expect queuing traffic between the Hairpin Bend and Eskiampahlele exit. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
20 years ago, you were driving to view maybe your first house, hey? And 20 years ago, well, the Outsurance pointsman would have been there on the roads, easing traffic congestion even then. So whether you're a client of Outsurance or not, we've all been getting something out all these years. Show them some love and celebrate this 20th anniversary using hashtag pointsmanlove. Johannesburg, Tshwane, Paarl, Stellenbosch, let's celebrate. Outsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
702.
Feedback.
With Rupfiwa Kone.
Rupfiwa Kone in the hot seat. You are definitely at that stage of Teacher Says stories.
Mm-hmm. Teacher says, if I don't eat my vegetables, then my meat will come to life in my stomach.
Really? You're like, yes. Teacher's right.
So eat those
Teacher's
vegetables.
Right. Mine it was not so much a class teacher, but it was an aftercare, where obviously they prepare food for the little ones. And the rule was, you get what you get and you don't complain.
Mm-hmm.
Sweetie, that became my mantra at home. Because teacher says.
And
What else you
can't
got?
complain. Well, Bongani, it seems as though our 702 landers are really wanting to replace many departments with AI.
Yes, the story from Albania, is it? Yeah.
Of course, Bongani, and many of those departments that came up that are really disappointing our listeners, and I had to listen to this. So shame on those departments at this moment. Home Affairs did come up, Department of Defense, Angie Mutsecha, Mama, it's like it's time to retire right there. Water and sanitation. Clouds are gathering. Clouds are gathering.
So here's the thing. I mean, I think let's be clear about this. This isn't about replacing even officials, right? But imagine having an advanced system that is clearly mapped out, where problems can even be anticipated. I mean, we're paying to repair infrastructure that we already know is damaged. But can you imagine if there was a virtual mapping of all our piped infrastructure?
Absolutely.
Where in anticipation, so the system could, for example, work out, we're likely to have, X millimeters of rain this season. And by that point, that one is going to be most under pressure, or that crack there is about to lead to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And even when you procure things, you know where they are in the system. Tracking it like your Temu order.
Exactly, Bongani. There are so many uses for AI that we can use to actually help support these departments in different administrative areas as well, where they seem to be lacking.
From your lips to the ears of the gods.
This is EWN.
Mayor Dada Morero says plans are in place to deal with the water crisis, and the Palapala robbery case returns to court. Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero says interventions are being put in place to ensure everyone has access to water. Morero has been briefing the media this morning from the Alexander Park Reservoir in Kensington. The address comes as the city continues to deal with pressure to keep up with the growing population and high water demand. Beyond infrastructure failures, the city says improving its water billing systems and addressing non-revenue water is critical to solving the water crisis. Thandoluhle Ngcobo takes a look.
Non-revenue water that is supplied but not billed, is a problem that has plagued Joburg for years. Non-revenue water is not just from physical leaks, but also from commercial losses, including billing errors and illegal connections. The billing system has been a source of public frustration for years, with residents complaining about inaccurate, inflated or estimated bills. While Joburg Water has vowed to improve its systems and investigating billing volumes, this issue remains a bone of contention. Non-profit organizations and opposition parties have repeatedly criticized the city for its financial management, arguing that a lack of boundaries of water revenue means funds are often diverted away from essential maintenance and infrastructure renewal. This mismanagement, they claim, is a primary reason why the infrastructure backlog has grown to its current state. The Department of Water and Sanitation has also supported the idea of making Joburg Water more financially autonomous to allow it to retain and allocate its own revenue maintenance. Thandoluhle Ngcobo, Eyewitness News.
We move now to this EWN exclusive. Northwest businessman Brown Mkhotsi, accused of meddling in police affairs, has a dark criminal past with several run-ins with the law dating back to as early as 1997. EWN has reliably learned that Mkhotsi has multiple files against his name, including for assault, theft, fraud and defeating the ends of justice. Earlier this year, Mkhotsi was identified by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi as a key figure in alleged interference in high-profile investigations, with claims that he also has close ties to Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. Oren Singh has more.
All of the cases against Brown Mokgotsi are confined to the Northwest Province. Northwest Police declined to comment on the specifics of each case against Mokgotsi, claiming he was going to testify at the Madlanga Judicial Commission of Inquiry, hence they did not want to get involved. However, reliable police sources confirmed his criminal history to EWN. Mokgotsi did not answer detailed questions EWN put to him about his criminal history. During his explosive briefing in July, KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkonazi claimed to have evidence of messages between Mokgotsi and tenderpreneur and underworld figure Vusi Musi Kat Matlala. The messages presented by Mkonazi alluded to collusion between the pair, whereby Mokgotsi was attempting to derail investigations by members of the political killings task team into Matlala. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
In the courts now, the Palapala burglary trial is set to start today at the Modimolle Regional Court in Limpopo. It follows a postponement to allow one of the accused time to give birth. Siblings Froliana and David Joseph, along with their friend Emanuela David, are accused of breaking into President Cyril Ramaphosa's game farm and making off with $580,000 in cash. The incident took place in February of 2020 and almost turned Ramaphosa's political career on its head. Thabiso Koba has the details.
The last time this matter was on the roll, Froliana Joseph arrived in court heavily pregnant. The former cleaner at the Palapala game farm requested and was granted a 3-month postponement to allow her to give birth and recover. During the last appearance, the National Prosecuting Authority also revealed it's still seeking 2 Namibian nationals as suspects. NPA's Limpopo spokesperson Mashudu Malabenjangi.
We've already done the process of extradition to get other accused persons, but are not going to be joined with this trial at this stage.
During the bail application stage, all 3 of the accused filed affidavits saying they intend on pleading not guilty to all the charges. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
In the Western Cape, the murder of a police officer who was also a taxi owner has put the spotlight on officers involved in the taxi industry. The 42-year-old constable was shot and killed in Lwandle near Somerset West earlier this month. The attack is believed to be linked to a dispute between 2 rival taxi associations. Kata and Kodeta over routes from Khayelitsha and Mfuleni to Somerset West. Ntutuzelonene reports.
According to a South African Police Service Act, police officers are not allowed to own or operate minibus taxis to protect the integrity of the service. The law also ensures that officers are not policing industries in which they have a vested financial interest in. It also prevents potential conflicts of interest, especially when addressing violent route disputes that they must police. Provincial Police Commissioner Thembisile Phathekile says officers found to have contravened this law will be dealt with.
We do not tolerate any taxi owner in the police. If there's a police officer this side and the other side is a taxi, we cannot continue working with the police.
Several taxi routes will be closed for a month from Wednesday as a measure to stop the taxi-related killings. Dutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
And in Australia, the National Climate Risk Assessment Report has painted a bleak picture of the climate situation over the next few years. It says rising oceans and flooding will threaten the lives of over 1 million Australians by 2050. The report has also warned that deaths from heat-related illness will also soar. The report has been prepared independently for government. It comes as Australia is set to release its next round of emissions reduction targets in the coming week, a key obligation under the landmark Paris Climate Agreement. Gold is trading at $3,644.94 an ounce. The rand is at 17.36 to the dollar, 23.56 to the pound, 20.38 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $66.99 a barrel.
And in the traffic in Centurion, there's been an accident on the N14 East. It happened right after the Brakfontein interchange. It's causing heavy delays. There's also queuing traffic on the N1 South. This is between the Proof Plus interchange and Linwood Road.
In your sport, Liverpool boss Arne Slot says his side was lucky to snatch a 1-0 win. City have managed to bring rights after beating Man United 3-0 with 2 goals from Holland. Sundowns back top of the Premiership table this morning, and the Springboks not getting ahead of themselves despite a historic 33-point win over the All Blacks.
A fine Monday in store for Gauteng today. Temperatures peaking at highs of between 25 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN. Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero says interventions are being put in place to ensure that everyone has access to water.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
We're going to keep you updated as to that briefing that the Mayor of Johannesburg has given, who says interventions are being put in place to ensure that everyone has access to water. You get water, and you get water. A little earlier on, though, we spoke to an expert, Dr. Ferial Adam, who says, well, yeah, yes and no. 12,000 kilometers of water infrastructure, 14,000 of sewage infrastructure. Or is it the other way around? I can't remember now. She says, we are fixing 11 kilometers every year. Yes, I said, please repeat. What? Yeah? 14,000? What are we fixing? 11 kilometers. Not 1,100. 11. Yeah. What do you say?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
We told you this weekend about Beauty and the Besta. Did you watch it? That Netflix docu with Nandipama Kuduman. I mean, it was one of those that was, because it was nothing really new, I suppose, right? In what that docu has to say.
Because we've seen the first one that another provider has released, which is on Showmax.
Showmax. I think I was in that one. I was one of the commentators
in that one.
What did you think of the Pearl Thusi story?
I believed it.
Yeah?
Given the first lady who passed away in Tabo's hands and how everything played out before she died, I believed it.
So for anybody who hasn't watched it, Mutero, Pearl Thusi says in 2011, this is the celebrated actor, television presenter, personality, right? She meets up with Thabo Besta on the promise of some television gig, and they have to drive somewhere. And on their way, he's the one telling her, go left, go right, go left, go right. And eventually they stop at some deserted place.
A dead end.
A dead end. And that's when she began to worry, when the knife was placed on her throat, on her neck. On her neck, not her throat. Her neck. But she eventually calms him down, and she gets him to tell her his life story. And out of a sense of compassion as a good Christian, she thinks, ooh, you need to speak to my pastor who can help you through this. And of course, the docu then cuts to the pastor who says, yeah, I spoke to him. Later, of course, she's weeping because she realizes, oh my gosh, having been in fear for her own life, she saved the wrong person. She saved this guy, but maybe if she had gone to the police, she could have saved all those other people that he later killed. What did you make of that? It was an unbelievable story, wasn't it?
Let's talk.
We're listening.
Good morning, Bongani. I just want to relate a quick one. When two kids were asked who were attending a kindergarten, when they were asked to pray before they ate their food, they said, God bless Amafuta, amen. And when Gogo tried to rectify them, they protested that Gogo was not there when teacher said, God bless Amafuta. Thank you, Bongani. Bye.
Hi, Bongani. This is Patrick from St. Juron. You know, one day my child came back from school. She was in grade 1. And she told me that the teacher said the party that is eating money is green. It left me wondering.
Wow. Early politics. Right. To more unbelievable, incredible stories.
EWN Traffic.
13 after 8. Up next, we speak to the Minister of Agriculture, John Steenhuisen. In the meantime, this Eyewitness News Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we've got heavy traffic volumes on the M1, both directions between the Killarney Bends and Greyston Drive. An accident has actually been reported near a Corlet Drive, causing these long backups. If you are traveling in Boksburg, do remember those roadworks along the N17 West between Carnival City and the R21, and in the city of Tshwane, some delays on the N1 South between the Proof Plus interchange and Atterbury Road. These are peak time delays. I'll have more updates. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
When it comes to saving you money, Outsurance puts their money where their mouth is. That's right. If Outsurance can't beat your car insurance premium, ask them for 500 Rand cash. Make that 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash, you always get something out. Get a quick and easy quote today. Call 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za. A licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
In fitness, as in finance, endurance is key. If you're 55 and older, you can get an interest rate of up to 10.62% with a Nedbank Electronic Optimum Plus account. Now feel the earn. Invest in under 2 minutes on the Money app and get money fit with Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply. For more info, visit nedbank.co.za.
Betway's exclusive new games are taking the world by storm. Featuring massive Megaways jackpots. Take your shot on Cash and Riches, Wolf Blaze, Gallo Gold Brunos, and many more incredible experiences for you to choose from. You're guaranteed to find a new ultra fun favorite. Get way more only at Betway. Betway's licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. NRGP counseling line 0800 006 008. All events are fixed odds betting games.
Naked people always get dessert. Because naked people spend less money on insurance premiums, they've got more money for Mulva pudding, or cheesecake, or both. With Naked, you can cover your car, home, and stuff in seconds. And because it's all online, it also costs less. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start treating yourself like naked people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Looking for real ways to live greener? Then don't miss Green Tip of the Week, your weekly dose of sustainable inspiration. From eco-entrepreneurs to climate champions, we sit down with the people making real change. So you can catch Green Tip of the Week every Tuesday afternoon with John Polman on Afternoon Drive, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Only on 702, and it's brought to you by Volvo. It's safe to be brave with Volvo.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
On to this now. Less theory and more usable information. Inclusion is no longer a moral add-on, but a growth and strategy competitiveness issue, says Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen. So as the government lead for the Agriculture Working Group for the G20, the minister has outlined inclusive market participation, technological innovation, climate resilience, and the empowerment of women and youth. He joins us now to explain on the line how farmers and families can win. Minister, it's been a moment. Welcome back to our program.
Good morning. Great to be with you, Bongani, and great to be with the listeners this morning.
So ordinary South African farmers, shoppers, small business owners, I mean, all of us are feeling the pressure of high food prices and these tough times. So you're saying one of the ways to get out of that is more inclusion that will give us the competitive edge.
Yeah, absolutely, Bongani. I think that it's very, very important that we use the benefits that we have of populations, large rural areas with very fertile land, But to date, many of those areas have been excluded from value chains because they haven't been able to do the volume and quality that is required of the value chains. One of the projects that the department is involved in is the aggregation, particularly of small-scale farmers in rural areas, to be able to get them to meet both the quality and volumes required to maintain a viable, sustainable supply into the value chain. Obviously, the more supply you have going into the value chain, the more prices become competitive, and lower prices will be ultimately at the end of the day for the consumer. So it's a win-win. We're growing agricultural economies, we're providing rural development, but at the same time providing quality and price to consumers at the end of the value chain.
Talk to me about the practical pathways in which you're doing that, and as well, of course, in terms of how you're going to achieve your 4 key priorities.
Yeah. So obviously the big thing is market linkages, and I think this is where the department and initiatives in previous years have not necessarily succeeded, where support has been provided on the practical level of implements, land, seeds, and the like. But what has been missing is the market linkage. We are obsessed now about finding guaranteed uptakes and market linkages for particularly small-scale producers and those who've traditionally been excluded from being able to provide into the value chain. A very good example is the partnership that we've done with Unilever in northern KwaZulu-Natal with the Department of Agriculture in KwaZulu-Natal, where local small-scale providers have been aggregated into being able to provide chilies and other herbs into Unilever's value chain. There's a guaranteed uptake. Unilever have invested in skills and some of the equipment. We've assisted with skills, equipment, and land. And that community is now guaranteed an uptake of their production and are able to get it to market. So market access really has to be the key. But the other priorities as well that we're focusing on is particularly around tech and how we can use tech and early warning systems, but as well as new technology around seed development to build into the agricultural space a greater degree of resilience. Resilience against climate shocks, as we've seen across the country. We've been bedeviled all over the country with too much water in a place like Citrus Dal and KwaZulu-Natal, too little water in the Northwest Province, and as well as other pest shocks, army fallworm and the like. And so it's obviously very important that we utilize these particular technologies and that we make those technologies available across the spectrum to farmers, not just to large commercial farmers, but also try and find ways to put them into the hands of smallholder and subsistence farmers who probably need the technology the most.
You've just mentioned subsistence farmers. I mean, do you have any success stories, perhaps, of, a young farmer succeeding with the support of some of the initiatives?
Yeah, of course. And we highlighted some of them on Women's Day this month. 2 farmers, Mimi Jacobs and Mrs. Tisetso Lebusa, who are both female farmers in the Free State province. Mimi's obviously been assisted with land and some plantings and implements from the department, and is now a successful farmer in her own right. Ms. Lebusa was provided with cattle, land, and the like, and bakkies and other equipment, and has been able to set up a viable business for herself going forward. And it's precisely this type of empowerment that focuses on viability, sustainability, and profitability that we're looking to replicate many thousands of times over to ensure that we have a far more inclusive process. And there's a particular focus in this year's G20 process on women and youth in agriculture, mostly because the World Food Programme recognizes that if there's more women land ownership, we would be far further down the line of food security. And secondly, getting youth involved in agriculture. We have a largely aging population in the farming agri sector. And obviously, we're trying to find ways to excite younger people to get involved in the space. It goes beyond just getting your hands dirty, but starting to encompass things like AI tech, climatology, soil technology, marketing, economics. These are all key foundations now of the new form of agriculture that's going to be required if we continue to remain on the cutting edge of the world's agriculture system.
we've got to move with the rest of the world. Appreciate your time. John Steenhuisen there, the Minister of Agriculture, on the line. Of course, there are more G20 meetings in Somerset West this week, and that summit in November.
702, The World View
with Adam Gilchrist.
23 minutes after 8 o'clock. Let's catch up with stories from elsewhere in the world now. Welcome back to Adam Gilchrist. Adam, let's start with this issue of Russian drones in NATO airspace. Are the clouds of war gathering?
Yeah, morning, Bongs. Yeah, 5 days ago, Poland shot down 3 Russian drones. I think Vicky was talking about that last week. The drones had entered Polish airspace. Now we have Romania saying that a Russian drone breached its airspace. I don't think they're claiming to have shot it down, but they absolutely sent up 2 F-16s on high alert to go and investigate. According to the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky, these incursions are not by mistake. It's possible, I guess, to lose control of drones, or they go too far, or they cross a border that, of course, is imaginary up in the air. But he says this is an expansion of the war by Russia, and it's difficult to argue against this feeling that they are pressing against the borders, that they're just testing NATO all the time and pushing with a high amount of jeopardy, you have to say.
It's really, really worrying, that development. Talk to me, Adam. I mean, in a sense, the sea is fighting back. Tell me about these sea balls.
It is a bit, yeah, a natural answer to some of the problems of human pollution. So what we have here are things called Neptune balls, which is not a medical condition. It is seagrass, essentially, that gathers in the sea, grows in the sea and on the seabed. And then because of the little tendrils, the natural fibers of the seagrass, it then gathers stuff, often natural stuff, but plastic pollution. Plastic particles are gathered by the seagrass, which then eject them, almost like sort of aquatic tumbleweed. And that then comes ashore in these sort of large balls of natural fibers with plastics in them. So, I mean, we are chucking 2.5 million tons of plastic into our oceans every year. So this is clearly not the answer, but it is an answer. And it is certainly nature's way of trying to just get rid of the stuff we're sticking in there. So nature's fighting back a little bit in a positive way.
Yes, indeed. And I think it underscores the need to protect these vital ecosystems and to reduce plastic waste. Adam, tell me about the World Tram Driver Championship.
This is so niche because I think you got rid of your trams 64 years ago, if my maths is correct. Although there are tourist trams, I believe, in South Africa.
Places like
trams
Kimberley
were got rid of in London. Yeah, exactly. So you can still jump on a tram. You still have tram drivers who could take part in the World Tram Driver Championship. They've had the first one in Vienna. I confess, in the UK, we got rid of all our trams in London, but they do still have them in Manchester, Blackpool, and Edinburgh. But do you know what? We did not win. It was drivers from Hong Kong, Rio, and San Diego who were right up there. In the end, though, the Viennese tram drivers won the World Championships, with Poland second, Norway third. It's not just about driving a tram. Apparently, the skills include you have to run down some skittles and push shopping trolleys into specific targets. So in other words, tram bowling and tram curling were part of the World Championships. And so just like everything else that we invented, trams were first in Wales in 1807. We invented it, and then the world beats us at it. Think cricket, rugby, football, and now tram driving.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of weekend did we have here in South Africa after that victory, Adam? But we'll leave it there for this morning's Worldview.
EWN Business.
27 after 8, our final business update for the morning. Muteo Kharipe, Oceana expecting lower profits.
Yeah, Oceana says revenue and profitability came in lower for the year, driven by weaker fish oil sales. On average, fish oil sales dropped by 50% during the reporting period. The Daybrook maker says there was steady consumer demand pushed up by the local production volumes of Lucky Star Foods. Lucky Star delivered an improved performance, with volumes growing by more than 1% in the period. Local canned fish volumes remained stable in a high cost of living environment. pilchard landings were up 4% higher compared to last year. Now, pilchard landings refer to recorded amounts of pilchards or sardines caught by commercial fishing operations.
Now, PetroSA scrapping its deal with the Russians. This was the one that was meant to restart the Mossel Bay refinery.
Yeah, PetroSA, South Africa's state-owned oil and gas company, has cancelled its deal with Russia's Gazprom Bank to restart the Mossel Bay refinery. The deal was worth 3.7 billion rand. At its peak, the refinery had the capacity to produce 45,000 barrels a day. The decision comes amid criticism over Gazprom Bank's selection as a partner, especially as the Russia-Ukraine war continues. Critics also questioned the due diligence and decision-making behind choosing the Russian bank as a partner, with South Africa's relationship with the US already strained. The Mossel Bay refinery's prolonged shutdown also increases South Africa's reliance on costly fuel imports.
I wonder what Jacob Zuma would say about all of that, but perhaps it's a question for another day. Your indicators?
The rand at 17 rand 38 has been good. It's been good against the US dollar this morning. 20 rand 37 cents against the euro and 23 rand 57 cents against the British pound. The price of gold also higher at $3,643 an ounce, while platinum is at $1,398. Brent crude at $67.44 a barrel. I'll bring you more business later this afternoon.
8:30 on the nose. Time now for your latest eyewitness news. Mbali Dlamini, we've all been waiting in anticipation. The mayor says the focus in terms of our water woes, not the reservoirs, not the infrastructure, not the pipes, but...
Well, he says it's illegal connections as well as infrastructure challenges, Bongani, as work continues in the city to stabilize the water situation. Morero has been briefing the media this morning from the Alexander Park Reservoir in Kensington. The address comes as the city continues to deal with pressure to keep up with the growing population and a high water demand. Last week, residents of Westbury and surrounds took their frustrations to the streets, complaining about ongoing water shortages. Morero says efforts are underway to tackle the city's water crisis.
We are going to find solutions on the water issue in Johannesburg, and we'll continue to call on our communities. One, we're going to be very hard on illegal connection. It's unacceptable. It's contributing to the challenges of the water problems that we're having currently.
The ANC has summoned all its municipal councillors from across the country to Johannesburg as part of preparations for the upcoming local government elections. The party is holding what it terms a roll call at the Gold Rush Dome in Nasrec today, where its councillors will be accounting for their performance since the 2021 municipal elections. The gathering forms part of efforts to ensure its councillors remain aligned with the ANC's mandate. Speaking on the sidelines of the ANC's National Executive Committee meeting in Boksburg at the weekend, Secretary General Fikile Mbalula said this forms part of efforts to win back public trust.
We are expecting 6,690 of our councillors at the roll call together with our structures. The objective of the roll call is to introduce the service delivery infrastructure plan, which will have been adopted by the NEC.
He says the party continues with attempts to make up for lost ground after suffering massive electoral losses.
The President will give marching orders to councillors and their role in its implementation. Measurable, monitored plan after every 3 months. And where there are challenges in different municipalities, will be able to lead.
To this now, Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Minister Velengosini Hlabisa says the gathering of mayors from the world's cities has been more than just a talk shop. Hlabisa was amongst delegates at the closing of the U20 Mayors Summit in Sandton yesterday. Tshwane and Joburg co-hosted mayors from the G20 bloc last week to bring to the fore priorities they believe need to be addressed by cities across the globe. Nukukanya Mdambo has the details.
Mayors from the G20 member
member states agreed on a communique which includes steps to ensure cities have the resources they need to deliver basic services for residents and to accelerate action on the world's most pressing challenges. It says affordable housing, social protection, jobs, climate sustainable development, digital transformation and social inclusion are not optional but are essential for a just and thriving urban future. Cocta Minister Velenkosini Tlhabisa.
The U20 summit has been more than a dialogue. It has been a political platform that brings the voice of the local government into the G20 table.
He says the commitments by city leaders cannot exist in silos but must influence national policies. Nogukhanya Mtambo, Eyewitness News.
And further afield, Adolescence, the British drama about a schoolboy accused of killing a schoolmate, has won the Emmy for Best Limited Series. The 4-part drama had a banner evening, winning multiple other awards. Owen Cooper made Emmy's history, becoming the youngest actor to win Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Limited Series or Movie. The 15-year-old British star, who was also the youngest nominee ever in the category, won for playing violent young boy Jamie Miller.
Honestly, when I started these drama classes a couple of years back, I didn't expect to be even in the United States, never mind here. But I think tonight proves that if you listen and you focus and you step out your comfort zone, you can achieve anything in life.
It's a fine Monday in store for Gauteng today. Temperatures peaking at highs of between 25 and 28 degrees.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N1 South. This is between the Proof Plus interchange and Atterbury Road. And traveling in Montana Park, we've got an accident scene reported along Sefako Makhato Drive. It is right near the N4 exit. It's causing heavy traffic volumes. Please be on the lookout there.
The top story in EWN, Joburg Mayor Dada Morero says the focus is on issues like illegal connections and infrastructure challenges as work continues to stabilize the water situation in the city.
It's spring, SA, and here at Decofern, we say it's time to say yes. Say yes to new friends. Yes to new adventures. Will you marry me?
Yes!
And definitely say yes to a few new things.
Welcome to Decofern.
Say yes to awesome savings at the Decofern Furniture Spring Sale with up to 35% off on outdoor furniture and much more. In store now or at decofernsa.co.za.
So you thought you were building a business? In this economy? Good luck. But day by day, somehow it grew. You became payroll, procurement, PR, and pressure valve. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. What's that saying again? What doesn't kill your business makes it stronger? Or at least it should be that. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore. It's who you are. And you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
Spar brings you super savings. Get 750 gram, 780 gram, 850 gram Nola mayonnaise, excluding squeeze bottle, for $38.99. Save R6 with Spar Rewards, or 2-liter Spar full cream or low-fat ultra-pasteurized milk for $32.99 with Spar Rewards. Plus, you could win your share of 6 million rand in instant cash. Price is valid until 22 September 2025. While stocks last. T's and C's apply.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Hi Bongs, I completely agree with you. Beauty and the Besta could have given us more because they told us everything that we know so far. That Pearl 2C insert or part of the documentary was completely unnecessary. Why didn't they go and speak to Nandipa's husband? Why didn't they probe more from Nandipa's dad? I mean, there's so much more that could have come out of what Netflix was trying to portray so that it's juicier than what we've already seen on Showmax. We've already seen all of that.
Morning, Bongani, the team. So, Pel Tusi, so are you telling me she always has a Bible on her hand or in her car or something? Because she relates the story and mentions that she gives Tabo the Bible. I mean, please, man. Anyway, anonymous here on the road.
Look, we were not there. We were not there. I think it's important to underscore that, and that is Pearl's story, and she's sticking to it. But I think people will ask questions about how a star who was already quite established at that time in her career would, without, say, representation, a manager or somebody, an agent of some kind, be with her on this trip to meet a stranger they have met on Facebook
and drive
at
around.
Night.
And drive around with the stranger.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think also Netflix was trying to emphasize the point that he was, drawing people in through Facebook.
I understand that. I think for ordinary people, perhaps. I'm trying to understand how somebody in the public eye would be invited to a supposed work opportunity to meet at night.
Bongani, if someone as educated as Dr. Magudumana is, would travel all the way to Bloemfontein to meet someone behind bars, and not just once, many, many trips on end.
And then, but the worst part was when they interviewed Thabo Besta's mother.
Yeah.
Who says Nandipha came and told her Thabo was dead. Right? That was also...
Dodgy.
What was Pastor Mboro's church called? Incredible Happenings.
EWN Sport.
21 minutes before 9 o'clock, Cindy Paluta. Not so incredible is Mamelodi Sundowns being back at the top.
Exactly.
No, that's where I'm going.
Oh, you're trying to say that it's just the norm, like normality restored.
Look, one of the things I'm trying to work out, and perhaps you can answer this question for me, which is more glamorous, the consistency over time to win a league or cup victories?
I think you would have to ask Orlando Pirates fans that. I'm being serious. Would you trade your 4 MTN 8 cups for 4 consecutive leagues? They would say 4 consecutive leagues. League champions. That means you played a year.
Yeah, you were the best for that year.
Yeah. 100%. Not just on the day you happen to win a penalty shootout and now you got a trophy. Because ask a coach. The coach will tell you the job relies on at the end of the season where you are on the table. Nobody cares about the trophy. Right? Sundowns back top of the Betway Premiership after beating Magesi 3-0. 2 goals from Rainers yesterday. It was the only league game of the weekend. Liverpool became the first team in Premier League history to win 4 consecutive matches thanks to a winning goal scored in the final 10 minutes or later. Yesterday, a penalty in the last 30 seconds of added time from Salah gave them a 1-0 win over a 10-man Burnley. Manchester United lost 3-0 to City yesterday. It's their second loss in 4 games played, but coach Ruben Amorim is adamant this is not a true reflection on the improvement his team has shown.
It's not a record that you should have in Manchester United. There are a lot of things that you have no idea what happened during these months, but I accept that. But I'm not going to change. When I want to change my philosophy, I will change. If not, you have to change the man. So talk about that every game that we lose. I don't believe in that in the system or whatever. I play my way and I'm going to play my will until I want to change.
Springboks and Argentina's wins over the All Blacks in Australia has thrown the Rugby Championship wide open. The Aussies top the table 1 ahead of the Boks and All Blacks, who in turn are 1 ahead of Argentina. The Boks next play Argentina on the 27th of September in Durban. The Lions will host a second consecutive Currie Cup final this Saturday. They're taking on the Griquas at Ellis Park. At the World Athletics Champs in Tokyo, the men's 100-meter final was a Jamaica 1-2. Seville winning ahead of Thompson. South African Gif Loatlela finished 5th. Sambini was 7th. In the men's 10,000 metres, Adrian Wulschut finishing 10th overall. Today in action, Marion Fourie competes in the 100-metre hurdle semi-final this afternoon. And in cricket, the Proteas 30-20 with England abandoned due to rain. The teams share the T20 series.
But did you see how the English battered in those last 2 games?
I know.
And how they just came out firing.
So the one game was that weird rain-reduced blah.
Yes.
And then that second T20 and that ODI that you're talking about, they were phenomenal. So I must be honest and say that when I saw that it was raining, I was like, it's okay.
I was relieved.
Let it rain.
Actually relieved.
Open the floodgates of heaven. Let's go for it. Sydney Polita, Eyewitness News Sport.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 In Brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. So catch it this Wednesday, 10 to 9, featuring Tracker. Their CEO, Dylan Fernando, will be in conversation with me, Bongani Bingwa. And we do this on Wednesdays to highlight efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. Let's walk the talk and together make a difference.
EWN Traffic.
17 minutes before 9 o'clock, 16 in fact. Let's catch up with the roads, a final wrap-up of what you are seeing. It's been a busy start of the week.
It has been indeed, Barney. If you're traveling on the N14 East, that accident near the Braakfontein interchange has been cleared, but traffic remains heavily backed up coming out of the R55. There's also queuing traffic on the N1 South between the Braakfontein turnoff and Olifantsfontein Road. Roadworks are taking place along the N17 West. This is between Carnival City and Rondebolt Road, causing about a 30-minute hold up there. So please be on the lookout and drive with care. And we still have got some delays on the M1 North. This is between the Kilani Bends and the Greyston Drive off-ramp due to an earlier accident. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Think about 6 years ago, when Amapiano was just a musical instrument. When streaming meant watching water flow, not videos online. And remote work was only said when your remote batteries died. So it makes you wonder, what will the next 6 years bring? Hino trucks now come standard with a 6-year drivetrain warranty, covering everything from pistons to gears. So although a lot can change in 6 years, our warranty promise won't. T's and C's apply. Hino, all the way.
Naked people are popular at Briars. Because naked people spend less money on insurance premiums, they have more money for T-bone steaks. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
Coming up
on the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
Yes, indeed. Between 9 and 12, it's the Clement Manyatela Show, and Clement has just walked in. I'm surprised not wearing a Pirates t-shirt.
I forgot. I remembered when I was like 5 minutes into my drive and there was traffic and I was like, should I turn back and go back to the house to change? And I was just
What's
in
made
heavy
you
traffic.
go back? I'll tell you what I went back for this morning because I was a little later than usual, as Amma might attest. She looked at me with that judgmental look when I walked in this morning because I was
How do you rock up at 5 a.m.?
I was later than I'm usually. What would make you turn back?
What would make me turn back? My phone. Oh my goodness, because this is my laptop.
Yeah, no, I can't even leave the yard with. I would know as soon as I get in the car.
Yeah,
that my phone is not with me.
Yeah, so I'm always rushing in the morning, so I wouldn't pick it up that I don't have my phone with me. So I just put everything in the bag and I rush to the garage. But yeah, the phone would definitely. Anything else? Nah, I can survive.
I came back. I went back this morning for yogurt. Because I've been trying this thing where I eat yogurt with chai seeds in the morning. Chia seeds, not chai seeds. What am I saying? Chia seeds. And it's a whole health, fiber, gut
So
health
you couldn't
thing.
have that after 9 when you knock off?
No, because it's not going to be the same. So I went back for that. But I'd done all my work yesterday. So actually I could close
You were good to go.
and walk through. But I'm sure of all the things you're going to be talking about this morning,
It's not yogurt.
It's not yogurt and chia seeds.
Or chai seeds,
Chia
as you
seeds.
said. What we're going to talk about today on the show is... there's so much that happened this weekend. Like, I do want listeners to reflect on the brilliant sporting weekend. Of course, Pirates, the Bokke giving us probably their greatest performance ever. And then we're going to have a conversation about President Cyril Ramaphosa's meeting today with the ANC councillors. All 6,000 of them.
Because suddenly they're serious
Yeah.
about municipalities and their dysfunction.
I get away a few months away from the election, so you have to be seen to be.
No.
So
not electioneering, Clement. No.
Yeah.
Oh, ye of little faith. Don't be so cynical.
We'll see what happens at this conference, this roll call of ANC councillors. But then at 10 o'clock, we're going to speak to businessman Serge Kabonge. So he is the friend of Ket Matlala. Ket is in jail, and Ket Matlala is charged with the attempted murder of his girlfriend, actress Tebogo Tobejane. So Tobejane has provided a statement now to the police, and in it, she accuses Serge Kabonge of having helped Ket Matlala orchestrate the attempted murder. In fact, she says Kabonge was one of the last people to see her before shots were fired at her. She also claims that she told Kabonge that she suspected that Ket Matlala was involved in the murder of Babita Deokaran. So did Serge Kabonge know that Ket Matlala was being suspected of that? He's going to be joining us at 10 o'clock. 10:30, we start a new series today. A certain wonderful listener suggested this series to look at the things that science can't explain. So we're going to start it today, and today we're going to start by looking at witchcraft, because to this day, that still can't be explained. At 11 o'clock, we wrap up the show with our Family Matters feature. Today we're discussing how to cope with suicidal thoughts.
Witchcraft is not a thing though, right?
It is for other people.
Just like fairies, the bottom of the garden.
Not really. But I think it's a spiritual thing.
Witchcraft?
Yeah.
Buloy?
Yeah.
Clement will explain between 9 and 12.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for plumbers, electricians, and other tradesmen. Pumlani.
Switching to Outsurance was one of the best decisions that we've ever made. We needed business cover over 15 million. Outsurance came forth for us. At Kani, we sleep better at night, knowing that we always get something out of Outsurance.
Switch to Business Outsurance, and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
This is your business. Hooray! This is your business supercharged with the help of Zero accounting software. Hooray! This is your business supercharged with the help of Zero, finding you have more time to focus on things you love and not endless admin. Supercharge your business today.
Search Zero with an X. This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
As you all know, we are champions of the arts here on this show. So let's tell you about an amazing new production on at the Market Theatre. Picture a boy growing up in Soweto, no father, life lessons mostly from his mother, sisters, and other women around him amidst the township's daily hustle and bustle. This is the story of Khabo Likwala. The Coward's Home, a poetic play about real courage, knowing when to walk away from fights and when not to run from them. It is written and performed by the award-winning poet Modise Sikhote. The play wowed theatres, wowed audiences at the National Arts Festival and is now at the Market Theatre. My thoughts getting ahead of me. And it starts this Wednesday and it runs until the 12th of October. So the play is called Khabo Likwala, an autobiographical interrogation of masculinities. Sound interesting? Well, Modise Sikhote is with us to explain. Writer, performer, and award-winning poet. Modise, firstly, welcome to 702 Breakfast. Thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Bongani.
All right, let's go into this childhood through the eyes and experience of Khabo Likwala. Growing up in Soweto, tough neighborhood at the best of times, no father, fights all around, finding peace. What made you write this story?
I think I was trying to make sense. Growing up with my mother and my sisters as a kid, I think for me, it was nothing was missing. I think I was raised with a lot of love and a lot of nurture. I think it's as I was coming into my latter years as a man that I essentially had to ask the question of what it means to what a father is and what it means to not have grown up without a father and what it is I may have missed along the way, and kind of trying to make sense of that for myself, but also looking at not just my own story, but the stories of the other young men that I was growing up with, the ways in which I guess we were all affected by growing up in these women-led households, or, women who of course did an amazing job, but there's still the question of like what is the role of the father in a boy's life, and yeah.
Part of this is described as I read out in my introduction, an autobiographical interrogation of masculinities. Tell me about that fine line of recognizing that there are all kinds of families, and that mothers and grandmothers who raise boy children are worthy of recognition for doing so, particularly without a male role model for said young man. But at that same time, knowing that often there's a thirst for something more for a young boy growing up in that circumstance. Where's that sweet spot, if you will?
Yeah, great question. I think, and I think testament to it is in my experience of writing this work. I was writing this work trying to make sense of what it means to have grown up without a father. But in many ways, starting out in search of the absent father, the work in many ways becomes a tribute to the present mother. In the story that I try to grasp at, making sense of who my father was, it becomes very clear to me how powerful the presence of my mother and sisters were in my life. Still acknowledging the fact that when it came to different certain points in my life where rite of passage had to take place, where the time for circumcision came, and all those sorts of things, I had to basically find my own way, and acknowledging the difficulty of that, all while paying tribute, I think, to the great qualities, the many amazing qualities that were passed on by my mother and sister.
Mudisa, can you give us a sense of, to the degree that you can, just give us a sense of the narrative arc of what we might see if we come and see this play? What's the story in a nutshell?
Yes. So it's centered around, of course, this one boy who of course is myself, but not just him. You see him outside with his young group of friends, doing what boys do, really, but also dealing with bullying and the constant fighting that is an inherent part of a young boy's life. And you kind of go through this phase and all these different phases where he's at school, and later on he's in varsity, and he's becoming a man, and he's grasping, really, he's trying to make sense of what it means to be a man. And in many ways, what I do with this play is I expand it beyond just myself and my friends that I grew up with. I look at the larger context of the South African man, and I ask I kind of ask the question of what goes wrong. Like, how is the South African man the sort of man that basically ranks highest in the world's rape statistics and crime and so many issues that are very, very wrong, and kind of, I guess asking, like, what goes wrong? Where did it go wrong? Is it the absent father? Is it the bullying that turns into something else in the latter years, where the young boy isn't just bullying his other friends, but now is bullying his wife and children in the home? And so that's kind of the arc.
That's absolutely fascinating. Do I read anything into the name Khabo Likwala?
You read plenty. So Khabo Likwala is from a saying which is Khabo Likwala Akhuli, which basically means that the coward who was the so-called coward, but that he who walks away from conflict spares his loved ones from pain, from the pain of losing him or her, from whether death or whatever, the trouble might be. And this is what my parents used to tell me as a kid. I'd come back home crying. Maybe someone had hit me, outside, and they would say, "Batlogele papa, khabole kwala khulimi," kind of, just encouraging that, like knowing when to walk away. But of course, part of this work is pulling at that and wondering, what would happen if I came back and my father was there? Would he tell me to go back out there and learn how to stand up for myself? And like, what is the balance like between these two dynamics? And then, how do I kind of learn that for myself, I guess, as I've grown throughout the years?
I suppose as we end this conversation, I'd love to understand your idea now as an adult man, what your idea of strength is and what walking away means for you. Is it still courage, or are there times when it can be weakness?
Yeah, I think for me, it's landed in the balance between the two. It's landed in understanding, but also knowing that there are moments where one does have to stand up for oneself. There are moments where one does have to push back and to fight. And of course, the wisdom is in knowing when the right moments are for that. And of course, this is all left to each situation and each moment as one goes through life.
What is it? That strength to accept the things I cannot change, and the strength to change those that I can, and the serenity to know the difference. Khabole Kwala is a play on at the Market Theatre. It starts this Wednesday and it's running until the 12th of October. I keep saying there's this renaissance, it feels to me, of South African theatre at the moment. Such fantastic productions on at the moment. We're speaking there, of course, to Modise Sekgote, who is the writer and performer of this amazing, amazing production. A story that interrogates masculinity growing up without a father figure, praising the mothers that were present, but also working on this journey of figuring oneself out. It sounds absolutely fantastic, and you can get yourself tickets on from this Wednesday until the 12th of October.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
Isn't that a delightful note to end the show on? You have yourselves a fantastic rest of Monday. Lots more to come on 702, from Clement's show to the Midday Report with Mandy Wiener, Rebogile Mabocha, John Perlman, and of course the Money Show with Stephen Curtis and Bra Obs. Why would you want to listen to anything else?
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero says the focus is on issues such as illegal connections, infrastructure challenges, as work continues to stabilize the water situation. Morero has been briefing the media today from the Alexandra Park Reservoir in Kensington. The address this morning comes as the city continues to deal with pressure to